Make sure my mic is connected thoroughly. Sound check, mic check, mic check. Make sure my headset is connected here. Forward to okay. One audio is fine. Okay. All right. That audio. What's going on, everyone? Peace, power, and profit to you guys. Over here trying to get all my mechanics together here. All right, there we go. That's better. All right. What's going on, family? What's going on, traders? What's going on, day walker warriors, right? There is such a thing for a day trader. We are day walker warriors, right? We're definitely opportunists. We're people who find value or alpha or yield through the financial markets by utilizing these different assets as vehicles, right? As opportunities, again, to, go out there and secure some kind of value and profit by trading their volatility, or as we would say, their liquidity, right? And so with that also being said, we're here to share that information with those who are new to this opportunity. We're here to pretty much give you a pretty much inside picture of what it's like as a trader of the market. And also, again, long-term investing is prerequisite, right? So if people say, well, are you just day trading only? I say, no, you are an investor, just by default. It's a prerequisite. You're learning this. You learn how to trade long before you learn how to trade anything, right? So that goes without saying. And we do have positions that are long-term, just out the gate, because again, we're all for understanding that this is a marathon, not a sprint, right? So we don't get in the habit of thinking that it's all about, trying to go out there and capture money in the market every single day with all this kind of volatility, uncertainty, and before you know it, if you're not thorough in your discipline, right, or your due diligence, you'll find yourself underwater, right, and then you'll be looking for an escape route. Right? Either someone gave you some information and you chose to go roll with it, besides doing your own due diligence, and you know how that goes from there. You got to blame somebody, right? All right. So we're not in the business of doing that here. We're in the business of obviously building people up and understanding what due diligence and discipline is all about. Risk management, how important that is. Learning how to mitigate risk, understand the risk versus reward, all those things that make up your daily life that you don't necessarily, sometimes, think about. You just do it habitually, right? It just comes naturally, kind of like involuntarily. Well, that's the whole goal of becoming a better trader, right? Learning how to do a lot of good things, in a way where it becomes involuntary, right? Your discipline, your share size values, you scale into trades. How do you find those particular assets, stocks that you're going to trade? All the basics that you need to know, right? Again, my little 4 pillars of success, right? What, why, where, and when, right? I'm always going to preach that because I understand that the value in that is understanding that you're just doing pretty much a mental check down, right? A mental checklist, right? And if your confidence is not there, then your money should not be there as well, right? Let me repeat that. If your confidence is not there inside of a trade, your money should not be there as well, right? There's so much more that you can learn from a trade by not necessarily trading it sometimes, right? So let that marinate for a moment, all right? And so it's important, again, that we realize it and we act accordingly when we're obviously, engaged in the financial markets, right? So again, that goes without saying. You have to always present your best. I don't care if you're trading some little penny stock, right? You're trading a big board stock, large caps, mega caps, mid cap, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. Again, you should not take that trade if you don't feel confident about it. All right. So that's always going to be, again, the topic of discussion anytime someone asks, in relation to day trading, what are some of the things that you think about, before you take a trade? What are some of the, what's your regimen? What's your modus operandi, so to speak, right? I can go into detail, obviously, but right out the gate, I'm telling you, due diligence and discipline, right? So what is due diligence, right? So simple Google lookup. do that definition, what due diligence is, match that with discipline, then okay, we can roll, right? And again, we also relegate that back to understanding in the market, it comes with what? Fundamental analysis, right? Figuring out what's happening with this particular company, this stock, what's so great about it, what do they have that's a better mousetrap than maybe a competitor company. Are they best in breed? Are they second in breed? Are they, what makes them special? Right, and then you take it to the technical, right? You go look at their chart, right? You go look at their prior trading history, so to speak, right? What have they been able to accomplish over certain time periods, right? Are they a cyclical stock, right? Do they only do pretty well during certain seasons of the year because that's when their product or their service is only, warranted or wanted a lot, right? So all those things matter, right? Again, how well do they fare during times when economic downturns are, hovering over them, like we're going through right now with this coronavirus. Right, a lot of stocks right now that were, pretty much not built to sustain such an economic slowdown like what we're dealing with today, where they're going to fall and go under. Right. I mean, Trump can only bail out so many of them. Right. Some of them just were already on their last leg, and they were already knocking on bankruptcy door. So in moments like this, again, we learn how to be resilient. And I say that as traders and investors, because we're still thinking about, okay, at some point when this thing gets behind us, meaning this coronavirus, a lot of these stocks that are sold off 20, 30, 40%, 67, 80%, some of them will become obviously very attractive, right? Some people already kind of, hit that plateau. It's like, I can't wait anymore. And they started buying all last week, right? They were like, I'm getting to the market. I can't wait, right? So, pretty much, if you guys been following me, y'all know my thesis. I've been saying, hey, I'm just not there quite yet, right? The rule of thumb is that you obviously, anytime you see an asset that draws down near 20%, you can potentially scale into it or add into it, right? Because at some point, even if it, dead cat bounce or just, retrace maybe even 7-8% of that or 10% of that 20% drop, that already puts you at a better average if you're already in the stock, or if you're just getting into the stock for the first time. It kind of insulates you a little bit, at a point where those people who are, locked in at a much higher price, who are bag holding, so to speak, at some point they will average down and also try to help bring that price of that stock up, which will also bring you in your position interest price up into what they're trying to accomplish, right? So you kind of get all that upside move within that, right? So it's a simple comprehension, ain't nothing, no rocket science with that. Again, principle-based investment, dollar cost averaging. Y'all guys heard of this stuff before, right? If not, we could go over that more in depth for you guys that may want to learn that too, right? So again, just kind of going back to the basics, slowing it down a little bit today, right? Much as we can. We're gonna definitely speak about this coronavirus, right? Can't leave Rona out, right? It's never a dull day when Rona, again, setting her meat hooks, not to make light of it, because it's becoming a very, be very, very systemic. It seems like when people were really thinking this thing was just gonna blow over, like a little, gust of wind. That's totally not the case, right? We have to deal with this virus, right? There's no other way around it. And to to add, what they call injury to insult, or insult to injury, however you want to position it. Now we just had this kind of extended stay at home mandate coming out of the White House, which we already kind of knew that there's no way we was going to be back up and running by Easter, right? That talking point began to grow legs, and people began to believe in it. They started getting all excited. I'm finna go back to work. And like, seriously, you really want to risk going back to work just so you could be around people, and again, carry on doing what you've been doing when you hit work, as if that's like the best thing ever, and that's just to putting your safety and your health at risk. You have to be a real daredevil for that, right? But either way, again, I'm neither a person can tell you what's good for you, what's not, but I know this: at the rate that this thing is spreading, I just don't find it to be very smart to just rush back out there into the real world, right? To the working world, if you want to call it that. Sorry about that, Open Chris. I'm sorry. I had to go back and look in the back check.
No, you good. Over peace and power profit.
Peace, power, profit to you, Over. So yeah, so just discussing that again, guys. Y'all know how we roll over here, right? We like to talk about it. We like to discuss it. We like to bring clarity to it. We like to hear different perspectives. Again, we don't rule from with iron fist over here. We're not an oligarchy, none of that. We are a community, right? We are a village, as I'm always saying, of thinkers and doers. So you may have an interesting perspective. You may have knowledge. You may have some insight that you might want to share. By all means, there's the link right there. Come on to the back chat, or excuse me, the panel, and let's talk about it. Stocks, geopolitical, coronavirus, health and wealth, whatever you want to do in that perspective. Definitely you have the floor to come on and discuss it, right? And I'm pretty sure a lot of people who are already in the market right now, obviously, you probably focus on your trades. So I know what that's like, right? You got time to be trying to play with YouTube, deal with all these trades, high frequency trades you might have going on right now, and also, just kind of, worry about everything else that's happening around you too. So I do understand that. So some of you guys may just be kind of just hanging out, listening in. I do thank you again for coming through, hanging out with your brother African Emporium today. As always, anytime I go live. So yeah, as I always say, my platform is your platform, and I truly mean that. All right, so we got brother Mathis already came through a little bit. We got brother Ebnar in the house. All right, good to see you guys. Peace, power, and profit to you all. Happy trading, happy profits. Secure the bag. All those things that get us excited when we fire by computers, cell phones, tablets, whatever it is, to get after this market every day, right? And so as you can see on my screen, if you watching my little cam, whatever, that's pretty much where we are right now on the Dow Jones. Obviously down 838 points, trending down by 3.81% on the day. At this pretty much near 2 o'clock hour, Dow back down 21,000, getting ready to crack that potentially maybe today and push a little lower, right? And so again, just kind of going back to where we were last week, when everybody was like, well, the bottom is in, right? That's all we kept hearing, and we were really hearing that from people who like, Wall Street analysts, obviously CNBC, they ultra bullish on everything. Again, if a fly land on the set, they're going to be bullish about it, I guess. But those guys, obviously, they get paid to boost that kind of, investor morality. Now, sometimes it can be a little insidious. And I say that because, again, there are some people who come into the world of investing or the markets at a time where they don't understand, that there's levels to this, right? And see, people say, well, what do you mean by that? There's levels to this, meaning there's moments in the market where it just isn't the most attractive time to be trying to, get into it. Now, even if you're thinking about long term, right? Because again, if the goal or the from what we are taught, from what they call the trading syllabus of life, right? The number one rule is what? You always, or lesson I should say, is always to what? Buy low, sell high, right? So if you're going long the market, meaning if you're bullish about this market, the goal is always try to maximize your money so you can get the best return from it, right? Not just come in just because you hear Jim Cramer ranting about a stock and like, no, buy right here. Buy, okay, those guys got hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars to put behind these assets, right? So even if the stock pull back, they can obviously average in at a rate where it can easily balance them out. Well, if you come in there with a certain finite amount of money, you don't have that luxury, right? You don't have that luxury. You can go back and get more money, come back, but it's just not smart. So again, it's always better to take the prudent route, right? To a little bit more, staunch in your beliefs to say, you know what, if things are looking like this now, and from what I'm learning, and just again using your common sense, this coronavirus is picking up. Again, there's no slow to rate value of it where it's not necessarily affecting people mentally, physically, or whatever. Then again, consequently, it also will affect the economy, right? We're seeing that with these unemployment rates, right? People hitting up the unemployment office like, man, like they're giving out free chicken or something, whatever the case, right? Free food or whatever the case. But it's becoming very surreal, right? I'm one to say that, man, this thing is coming very surreal just to see it happening, because, who would have thought we would experience something like this in our lifetime, right? We've heard about the potential. We've seen the movies, Contagion, Outbreak, all these different movies, 28 days, I think something like that, 21 or 28 days, some other little movie like that, like a little zombie apocalypse type, where the virus then broke out, and Joker's running around here just, messed up. I Am Legend, Will Smith, another classic one, same reality, virus, breaks out. And so, for what it's worth, when you think about even just using that movie as an example, right? When he was moving throughout New York, and it's pretty much a ghost town. Well, that's basically what New York look like right now. In some cases, it looks about like a ghost town. You know, the most busiest city on the planet, literally on the planet, right? In New York City, right? And some of my LA people might want to contest that, right? Even some of my people probably in Atlanta, but they can't. You know, again, let's not even play around. Y'all know, New York is definitely a up all nighter type of city, right? You can't compete with that, you know, with that ego up there, that eco. And so, again, with that being said, just knowing that we're living under these times where you see that kind of level of, uh, ghostly, figure value, and nobody on the streets, it just seems like some out of a movie. But with all that being said, too, again, for us, for people who understand, that there's other ways that you can be, you can maximize your time, I should say. Then, in essence, to what we do for us traders and investors, this is pretty much like normal day for us. This is normal life for us, right? This is normal, right? Because we're obviously in front of screens. We're in different chat rooms, or discords, dropping information about stocks, news, whatever the case. I mean, whatever we could do to increase our our mental capacity to be better traders and investors, right? To find value in the markets at any given moment, right? And so again, it's just like another day for us, right? So now you're just having to do that with a little bit more extra distraction, right? You may have your family around you, and whatever the case, right? People calling you on the phone a lot because they just bored, and usually they probably be at work, right? Or you grinding, right? So that's the only thing far as us that we are dealing with, But outside of that, it's business as usual, right? Business as usual, as we know it to be as traders, again, investors. So kind of going right into the topic. So you guys can see, as always, y'all see my description box or the title of this pretty much this broadcast. And I like to try to add something to my little description box as much as possible. I don't like to have a little dry little description box. Add a little content. So again, yeah, some of you guys may have seen the press release that happened over the weekend, right? This Sunday, Trump pretty much came out. I was saying it last week, actually, that he's actually succumbing to science, right? He's having to realize that he can't just talk his way out of this virus, right? It's just not going to happen. And on top of that, no matter how much money they're trying to throw at this thing, meaning the feds and also the Senate as a whole, or the Congress as a whole, well, again, this is a little bit more complex than that. And so, for the most part, they're trying to not only quote unquote, save the American people physically, but they're also trying to save, their money too, right? Through these equity markets, right? Through these bond, coupon, paper, paper contracts, obviously in terms of 30-year house notes, car notes, cell phones, any kind of thing that you have, your name attached to. That's obviously relegated to a bill, right? Obviously, that bill is obviously being mandated, through some kind of value of law. Therefore, it is also backed by a bond value, so to speak. And so, again, it all ties into the overall economy as a whole in terms of debt and also equity value, things that are producing profit. And so today, what was interesting that, the first, right, this is April Fool's Day, right? Somebody would have said, man, y'all have a coronavirus or some virus will hit y'all and it's going to ravage your community and y'all going to be shut up in the house and everything going to be like, like some out of a movie, right? And and then they turn around and say April Fool's, like, well, no, we're not April Fool's. This is 100% going down. It is happening, right? We are locked inside the house. Well, not prison locked, but you can't go outside, ride your bike, whatever, social distancing. But you can't really go to work and do all the stuff that you normally would do, right? But somebody would have told you that, man, a little about a month ago, you'd be like, I would say, 2 months ago, about 2 months ago, in January, you probably been like, nah, I don't see that happening, right? But it's upon us now, right? It is upon us. So today, interesting, again, a stat came out. Definitely credit over Chris, who's on the back chat with me here at the panel, I should say. He's a data hound too, right? Man, I tell you, that guy, he gets after that data, he gets after the information. And that's what it's all about, because the more informed you are, the better you are making good decisions when it comes to investing and trading, right? So, a lot of pertinent news reels that are dropping, my brother be on it, right? He's on it, right? And again, that also, again, keeps you solid, and being able to also help other people who may not have the, the time or the wherewithal to be able to understand news, when it's happening. or the importance of it. And so there's a lot of obviously newsreels that's coming out daily because of this virus. But one of them that really caught my attention today, which I already kind of knew was going to go that route anyway, because again, I follow the bond market, right? I follow the treasury.org site in terms of yields and all these things like that. But also important to understand how the Federal Reserve works, right? In relation to trying to make sure that the bond market stays balanced, right? But why would they have the mindset to want to save, or I should say, just go ahead and say it, save the bond market? Well, because that's a lot of your houses and your car notes and all that stuff is tied up into the bond market, right? That debt note, right? That bond value that goes attached to you buying that particular long-term property or long-term item, where there's level of risk that may be involved. Somebody owns that risk, right? Somebody's wanting to buy that risk, that if you default, they can collect on it, right? Which a lot of the economy, in terms of America being it's a debt society, a debt laden society, is ran through debt credit leveraging. If any of that debt defaults at a rate where the bond market can't sustain and the bond market collapse, then there goes your economy, right? There goes your economy, right? No and if buts about it, right? So you think about other countries around the world that has gone under. I think Turkey went under at one point. Greece was already under trouble at one point. That ain't a pretty sight, right? You already had negative interest rates, which we're not there. You might as well say we're there, but when you already had negative interest rates on top of that, that means you really don't have any more ammo left as far as your federal, or your central banking mechanism to bail out its citizens or even bail out its economy, right? Because you don't have enough, production growth, manufacturing services, whatever, to balance out all the debt that you have. Does that make sense, a little bit, guys? Some of you guys already know this stuff, but I'll be trying to talk in terms of break it down best I can so you guys can really see exactly what I'm talking about, right? So again, going back to today, right? So right now, what we're dealing with, right? We're dealing with a mortgage overload, right? So today is the first, right? Some of you guys probably, your rent was due, your mortgage was due, whatever bills you might have had due today. But the most important ones are definitely, dealing with mortgage, right? Right, and rent, right? And so now you have all these moratoriums, these kind of delayed payments of rent and mortgages and light bills, water bills, right? Again, it's varying state by state too. So let's not, let me clarify that, because I don't want to start saying to people like, I ain't gonna go pay mine. Make sure that you understand what your state is doing, even though you're hearing it from the White House. Certain states are doing their own little thing too, to a degree, right? So make sure you know exactly what's happening in your state, your jurisdiction, so to speak, to when it comes to those bills or things like that. You know exactly what you need to do to protect yourself, because most states already have went out that you're on, so you're going to be good to go. Especially a lot of people still waiting on that little stimulus check, right? And so that's going to be a major carrier to help you with some of the bills that you already have out there that are probably outstanding, and that'll starting to pile up, right? And so, which is crazy, because I spoke about that last time. It's funny how you have to wait 2 or 3 weeks, right, close to a month, to get that little $1,200 check, right? But Wall Street, receiving checks every day, right, in the tunes of billions of dollars. It's going strictly to the bond markets. They buying up all that, these mortgage-backed lending loan, all that stuff like that. They buying that stuff up. But again, Main Street has to kind of sit on his hands and wait, for a little penny and a little $1,200 check. Right. So again, that's just pretty much how stuff works, man. Again, I don't make the rules. I have to live under like everybody else. It's crazy, right? It's crazy, right? And I also say, like, when the IRS comes to collect money, right? IRS don't take no time coming to get that bag, right? When they they hit you up with that letter saying, hey, we about to collect, right? They coming to collect, right? And so a lot of your your banking information is already tied to them anyway, so they just draft it right out your little banking account, right? They're gonna hit your employer up or whatever the case, right? So they play a very, very dirty game when it comes to that. But on the flip side of that, when it comes to you, you have to wait, right? You have to hurry up and wait. And again, you needed that money like yesterday, right? Like last week, yesterday too. And so it's funny how that works. But again, we understand, what we're dealing with, right? We understand the system here, the system analysis, right? All right. So yeah. So again, just kind of going on that. So today, you know, was again a lot of rents were due. So interesting news reel. Let me see if I can find it real quick here. You know, we're gonna definitely speak about stocks and all that too. We always gonna go in. We're not gonna lose focus of that, all right? Because that's why we're here. But it was let me see if I can find that article. The one about the, because I know over Chris posted it too. Considering the how much money was owed today. I posted a link on it while I think a day or two ago too. How much money came that was owed today as far as rent and mortgages, and that's a lot of money that filters back in through obviously these long-term bond mortgage lending contracts, but more importantly the economy, right? The economy, that money obviously flows back in, in terms of those those contracts, right? And so it's weird. Let me see that. This is just, I need to find the actual article itself, but it's just going to show you just the amount of money, right? When you're thinking about how much money is out there, and just probably a ballpark figure, but in terms of rent and mortgages that's coming into the economy, right? Obviously, by way of those payments, right? You're talking about a massive amount of money, right? So let me see if I can pull this up here. All right, so you guys can see my screen there. All right, so as of today, $81 billion in rent obviously became due today. 81 billion. All right. And I just have a question, right? How many of you guys think at least a third of that probably get paid? Do y'all think a third of that 81 billion, even half? Do y'all think a half of that 81 billion gonna get paid today? Right? Do y'all think people gonna be running to pay their bills, or at least pay their rent, if nothing else? And some people might be whatever, but again, I'm just asking, just generally here. How many of y'all think people gonna be running to to drop that bag off to their bill collector, right? To their landlord, right? Right? You got Mr.
Not a
Charlie on the
lot.
job. They say what over, Chris?
Not a lot, especially
Not
if
a
you're
lot,
depending on that stimulus check.
right? Because you're trying to save what you do have for, again, necessities, right? Food, for your children, if you have children, just make gas if you need gas, which I'm not gonna need a lot, but you're trying to make sure you parse out your money rightfully, so right. So that's $81 billion, guys, that came due today on April Fool's Day. Again, go figure, right? Couldn't make this stuff up, right? You call the landlord up, y'all already know where I'm going. You call Mr. Tyrone up, hey, Mr. Tyrone, right, I got that rent money for you, even though we're going through hard times right now, and I put away a little money in a little sock, and stashed away just for a day like today to make sure I could pay my rent. And Mr. Tyrone, he started getting happy. He's like, what? What? You gonna pay the rent? And you say, what? April Fools. Ain't nothing that joke could do. You might have made him mad, but ain't nothing he could do. Because if you protect it under that, pretty much under the mandate that, there's a moratorium on stuff like that, they can't evict you. There's no interest accruing from the value that if you miss a rent payment, there ain't nothing they can do. Right? And so I can only imagine somebody out there crazy enough to try to pull that off today, but I wouldn't doubt it. It's some crazy people out there, especially college students. Right? College students, they have no fear. Right? Little people call, hey man, I got the rent. We got the rent, man. And like, April Fools, and hang up on the landlord. Like, that's crazy. But again, seriously though, but that's a lot of money. That is a lot of money that's obviously not going to get paid. So, and I'm going somewhere with this. So just walk with me for about 2 seconds, 2 more seconds. So if that money obviously is owed and it's not going to get paid, which is a major aspect of money, right? We just finished out our last little quarter, obviously, back in March, right? Which was, y'all saw the stats on that first time, in a long time that, the Dow was down. The overall market, I should say, was down so much in terms of even a quarter for the overall economic aspect of this country had lost so much so fast in a short period of time. Right, due to something like this, which is an anomaly in a lot of ways, but it was just staggering that it kind of broke some records, right? That we took such an L, up and down the scoreboard of the economy, right? And now it's like, okay, we're going into the next, right, which is today, April 1st, right? We're finna, roll right into another reality where the numbers now are starting to kind of turn over a lot faster. We're seeing that out of New York with those cases. not just the people contracting it, but people who are also dying from it, and all this again, lack of any kind of work that's being performed anyway to kind of even help the government, where it's all on the government shoulder at this point. Basically, everything that makes your life a little bit more comfortable right now is on the shoulders of the government, all aspects, right? And also the Federal Reserve, obviously, that's another extension of it, but still. So it's important, to realize that. So when you start timelining this thing out, meaning like 2 months from now, 3 months from now, whatever the case like that, I have another question. Do you guys think that we will be at a point where we will be able to kind of get back to normal within about a 2 or 3 month time span? All right, that's my question to you guys in the back chat. Anybody on the panel as well. But do you guys think that we'll be back to normal? Sorry about that, Raul. Just seeing you came in. Sorry about that. All right. Do you guys think we'll be back to normal in about a 2 or 3 month time span? Right. I'm curious to know, you guys thought on that as well. Right.
I don't think so.
Right. Oh, Chris, say you don't think so. All right. What about you, brother Raul? You there? I don't know if you're there.
I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you. It sounds a little low, but I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab my headphones right now, but no,
Okay.
I've been looking at some models and it doesn't look like it's gonna end for definitely a couple more months. So no.
Right. Right. And so, and knowing that, and again, it's just everybody has a different take on it. But for me, I'm thinking about again, what would the economic landscape look like, right? What will we look like, at that point? Because again, they want that. You guys know they want to get this economy up and running as fast as possible, right? And I say they because again, it's an election year, right? This virus hit inside of an election year, right? The actual, the year is supposed to go. The year's going to go down. So there's been no campaigning. It's been none of that. Just you don't even hear about Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden anymore. It's like it's pretty much like they fell off the map. And the only way you obviously hearing about Trump because he had to give a press release almost every single day, right? But he's not out there on the road, and beating up these little states and getting out there, pushing his little propaganda to get people excited about voting. So now it becomes a thing where they're looking, strictly at those who pretty much been voted into office, be it from the local municipalities, state aldermen, city mayors, and all these people, all the way up to people that have been sent to Washington, House Representatives, Senates, all that stuff, to really show their level of leadership, right? Because if not, your head's going to be on a chopping block going into November, right? Especially dealing with this coronavirus and how people are on edge about it. Nothing they could do about it, but they're on edge. So it's going to be interesting seeing how this unfolds. So how well Trump handles this will definitely be, I think, in my opinion, the deciding factor whether he gets potential another 4 years or he's out of here, right? Because it's pretty much an either or reality at this point. Because people already kind of seen enough, throughout the first 3 years. They kind of already drawn their conclusions, and so they need to have that level of certainty that whether or not they want to deal with this another 4 years, right? Or if you want to bring in a Joe Biden, right? I don't know if Bernie Sanders still has a favorable chance. He may or may not, but at this point, it's looking like it's coming down to Joe Biden and Donald Trump. And so again, saying all that is, so if the economy obviously doesn't get to a point where it can slightly maybe gain back and maybe a third of what it potentially lost in the next, I would say, in my opinion, I would say about 30 to 120 days, then I think it will be detrimental, right? And I think it'll start being detrimental psychologically to voters out there, right? And so in knowing that, if they are able to circumvent this virus enough and maybe come up with a quick vaccine, which we already know, even if they come up with one, it still won't be able to be, acclimated into the society maybe at the end of the year next year. They already said that out the gate. There's no debating that because it takes time to go through phase 1 trials, phase 2 trials, a phase 3 trial, go through all the, the steps of that. It might be expedited because there's what they call a fast track, right? You can fast track a particular, drug or something that the FDA will grant because they want that particular item on the market faster, right? Because of, the level of its, potency. right? So whatever it is, it will get fast track. We get it. But by the time it hits production and get on the actual human market, then we still talk about end of this year, next year, right? And I'm saying end of this year as the earliest point, right? And so again, now take everything I just said in the context. Now think about where the stock market, all right? Think about where the stock market will be in about, let's say 20, 30, excuse me, not, about 60 to 90 days to 120 days, right? Knowing where we are today, right? Which we obviously know, as you can see on my screen, the Dow's down 21,000 points. If you go back to its peak, right, we was up there banging up against that 28, 27, getting ready to try to, everybody was getting excited about Dow 30,000, right? That's all you kept hearing about. Dow 30,000, Dow 30,000, right? 29 was up there banging up against those numbers up there at the peak, right? As a matter of fact, let me go run over here real quick, right? Run over here to Dow, and then I'm gonna back that up by the S&P chart, right? For a reason, right? Because y'all already know we talked about this last week about where the where the hold up where the S&P 500 was particularly potentially headed, right? When some people got excited thinking that what the bottom was in. Y'all remember hearing that? All right, we think the bottom was in.
That's all we heard. Everyone start
Right.
buying.
Right, and people they start doing just that. They start buying in reflection of that, right? So you ask yourself, okay, what would cause people to, again, through all caution, to win and say, well, hey, I think we're back. That kind of reality. I think we're back. We back, Mortimer, right? Y'all know I'll be saying that, right? We back, but apparently we was not back. We were not back, and we're not back. And you will say, okay, well, we went up there and hit a key level resistance, kind of pierced through it just slightly, and then we kind of, spent that with a little bit slightly above it, and then we pull back below it. So apparently, there was not enough oomph behind the Federal Reserve pumping all this money into the markets through obviously through the repo markets to sustain that psychological pivot point of 260, right? Because that's all I kept talking about last week, right? 260, right? My line in the sand is what 260, right? And so again, this is why you have to again trade with your brain and not necessarily with your feelings, right? Because it was easy to get sucked into the talking points, right? CNBC, oh man, we're back. The bottom is in. They had people who are technical analysis gurus and fundamental analysis gurus like Tom Lee or Fundstrat. You guys don't know who he is, go Google him, look him up. He's the guy that's always been super bullish on Bitcoin, even though Bitcoin been going through it, whatever. But he's well known in the investment world, as a somewhat of a very intelligent mouthpiece when it comes to fundamental and technical analysis when it comes to the overall market. Again, you got other people like Tony Dwyer. He's another one. I mean, there's plenty of them out there. Y'all probably seen them if you watch CNBC. All right, but case support. Looking at my screen here real quick. Right, again, we was banging up here near that Dow 30,000. Right, that was everybody was waiting on that Dow 30,000. Right, big resistance up there. Right, but again, coronavirus came through. And ended that pretty much. Unfortunately, right, because again, we're not gonna make light of the coronavirus. But what we are going to do is analyze where we were again, like we did last week, or anytime we've been coming on. It's about how frothy the market was at a point where we didn't necessarily have any organic growth. It was just more or less the Feds keeping the market afloat and running it and pushing it higher, right? So again, breeding a false sense of security in traders and investors. And so a lot of you guys who are new to this, you say, well, you might have been hearing about it in passing, or you might have been, you got the little phone alert every now and then. You look down and see what the stock market doing just on GP, whether you follow stuff or you don't. You say, man, this thing seems like every other day is going up. I looked at it last week. It was at, Dow Jones at 27,000. A month or so later, it's up here near 28,000. Right, man, what's happening over there? They must be making some money over there, right? Well, again, a lot of that came with a whole lot of, explaining behind it. There's reasons why, right? And so again, we had a fall from grace, obviously, and saying that euphemistically out from that perspective. But you had a fall here that was very magnified in the way that it failed. Not so much that it failed; it was how it failed, right? The speed that it took to get from Dow 29,000, 29.5 all the way down to Dow 18,000 at the lowest peak, right? And then you say, well, okay, well, man, what happened? Where all these people Wall Street at? Where they why they wasn't saving the market? What was happening? This is they bread and they pride and joy, right? They bread and butter, right? And so that goes to show you. Now, if you go back historically, again, I'm going to go somewhere for a reason. Again, always a method to my madness, right? So the last major ugly drop we had that you can just kind of see from the chart, because it's obvious to see anytime you have a dagger type drop like that, that kind of gives you some insight. Like, man, what happened during that time span? So the last one was back in what? December last year, right? We know, or excuse me, 2018, December 2018, right? When we had that nasty pull off, sell off, excuse me, where it pulled back from 259 all the way down to roughly about 217, right? Before that, you had pretty much a little drop here. It wasn't staggering, but it was pretty decent. From 265, you had a pullback all the way down to at this lowest peak about 233, right? So roughly about near 30-something points, or 3,000 points if you add the actual, the overall Dow component as a whole, not the ETL, right? And then again, the last one before that, you had one roughly here around about, that was actually way back in 2015, right? So since then, we're about to go all the way back basically around, like early 2000s, or actually I would say that, excuse me, around 2007, 2008, when we had that last market crash, subprime lending crash, where we had such a, substantial dump in a short period of time. Because again, you're talking about from February the 21st, right? February the 20th, all the way to basically March 23rd. So roughly inside of a month, right? Inside of a month, right? Or excuse me, a little after a month, a little over a month, excuse me, 20 to the 23rd, right? So a little over a month, maybe 33 days, somewhere around there. You had a drop again, roughly, again from 29.5 all the way down to what? To 18, right? To 18,000, right? So roughly well over 100 something points, or 1,000, 10,000 plus points in terms of the overall Dow itself. So that's a lot, right, in a short period of time. But it took something again like the coronavirus to stop this kind of this market melt up that we had basically coming out the end of December of 2018, where the market kind of pulled back very stagnantly. Then they did a V-shaped recovery, magically a V-shaped recovery, and marched on up there and made new highs. Right, was getting ready to knock on 30,000 level. So now fast forward to where we are today. Right, my point of taking y'all through all that, them dirt roads and brown patches and sticker bushes and all that, right? Looking at the market when it bounced, right? All last week, everything that was coming out of Wall Street was bullish. Oh, we're back, right? Even that song, the boys are back in town. The boys, y'all, right? All that, all those "We Are the Champion" song, all that stuff. Bulls got super excited, and I kept saying what? 20 moving average. Watch that 20 moving average. Obviously, more importantly, again, watch that 260 on the spot. So let's go to the spot real quick. Right, let's go to the spot real quick. Right, pull up that beautiful bean footage, as they say. Right. Oh, P-word again. We were back. Now, again, as a trader investor, guess what? All this right here, this retrace, that's opportunity. You make money on that too. Don't get it twisted. Even if you're a perma bear, or you like, I'm saying perma bear in the essence, where you had a drop like this where you made a ton of money, because bears, obviously you make more money going down faster than you make money going up, because stocks drop a lot faster than they do, in terms of taking the time to go upward, right? And so, again, in 1 month, bears made more money in 1 month, literally, than it took bulls to make in an entire, literally 2 years. Right? Actually, a little bit before, longer than that. Because go all the way back to the lowest point. And here's where it gets tricky. You guys need to understand this stuff from a technical analysis aspect. Go all the way back to that lowest point when the SP 500 was trading at around about what? $218 a share. That was back in November of 2016. Let that marinate for a moment. November 2016 was the last time the SP 500 saw a $218 handle. And I'm talking about that's at the lowest point, obviously, of the sell-off of the lowest wick. And we erased that entire gain in the SP 500 under that ETF, right? In literally 1 month, or a month and a few days. And so then the next question would be, well, what does that got to do with today, brother African Emporium, right? What are you saying? Well, I'm saying just this. If you were a person who was listening to a lot of the bullish, aggressive kind of talking points out of last week, especially if you're new coming into the market, right? And you kind of came in, not understanding how to scale into the market properly. Well, in a moment like all this uncertainty is still unfolding again, think about everything into one particular picture. What are we dealing with the coronavirus? Is it anywhere out of the blue at now? Are we at the peak point of the coronavirus in terms of cases being contacted and also deaths? Anybody? I'm asking
Nope.
that, right? We're nowhere near that, right? So if we're nowhere near that, right, right? If we're nowhere near that peak right there, you keep hearing Dr. Fauci and Dr. Burks talk about that peak, right? That point where we start actually curving back over, right? They're doing like a logarithmic chart, right? Y'all, some of you guys know what that means when you kind of timeline things out in terms of a natural progression, kind of like a moving average, right? To a degree, right? And when it kind of hits that apex and start curving back over on the other end of that sine wave, y'all know I always like to use that analogy, right? The market's supposed to trade like a sine wave, right? Natural, even ebb and flow sine waves, even though it's not that, pretty sometimes, but it's still supposed to, flow like that. Well, off this retrace or this so-called dead cat bounce, if you want to call that, and this is on the daily chart here, right? What do you see right here at the peak right here? Remember, I kept talking about that 260 resistance, right? Raul, brother Chris, y'all on the panel, right? I was kind of emphatically speaking about 260 as a resistance point, right? As a psychological resistance. Now, even though it peaked up above it, guess what? I'm not nervous though. Even if it breaks 260, because y'all understand there's also what they call Kentucky windage, right? If you ever had to shoot a military weapon, right? A2 rifle or M249, whatever, and they used to have this thing we say sometimes I'd use what they call a Kentucky wind, when the wind blow, and you got to adjust your aim to when you fire your weapon, that the bullet go out to adjust for that wind and then curve around and hit that target, center mass. So even though you had like a couple of dollars over 260, right? Technically, that still wasn't enough to make me feel as if, okay, the stock, or the actual market itself was at a point where we was getting ready to break out and go higher, meaning the bottom was in the overall market, right? So people like myself, I doubled down up there above 260. Meaning I added to my short positions at that point, which obviously gave me a more cheaper price, right? And this would be able to push the market back down lower, only because, not that I'm just anti the markets or anti the economy, right? I'm also understanding that I'm using all my intelligence, all my technical analysis, all my fundamental analysis, and all my basic common sense and experience and understanding. When you have something like what we're dealing with, which is new to a lot of us in terms of this pandemic, but more importantly, how it's affecting America, right? There's no way you can have a booming economy, a booming stock market when everybody's sitting home right now twiddling their thumbs. Right? You don't have that kind of retrace where you go strictly from the lowest point of which is 218 and shoot back up even to a point around about 270, 280, right? Or in our case, when we were talking about that 200-day moving average, right? Around about near 300, I think at that point it was like 295, somewhere around there, 290 to 298, where it's at now. You were just going to have that kind of lift off. That was just unrealistic. It was unrealistic. So a lot of people got caught up buying up here. They're just buying at this point here. They're buying into this point here. Right? They was buying into this point here. And then when it crossed that 260, because guess what they kept saying on CNBC? Also, if we get above 260, right? Farewell to the bull or to the Bears, right? Good luck to the Bears after that point, right? After that, the Bears finna get squeezed, and anybody short in the market at this point is just crazy, right? The Feds got your back, right? They're gonna just print more money, right? We heard that back in what? Last year, right? Around the same time frame, right? September, November, December, whatever, was hearing that all back during that time frame. You're not going to compete against the Feds. The Feds going to run you over, right? They can risk print more money. Well, they kept printing more money. But again, I asked you guys the same way I asked y'all last week, right? Is there an amount of money that the government can throw at this coronavirus to stop it from spreading? Anybody, right?
No.
Anybody can, right?
No.
So, throwing money at it, and not necessarily a solution, right? Because this is a science issue. Am I safe to say that this is a science issue and not necessarily just a monetary issue?
100% right.
right? So the money obviously can help you, make good decisions with it, granted. But if you ain't doing it under that guise of science, then how effective are you at stopping the slow the spread of this thing? Just by telling you to sit home, well, that ain't enough, right? So they say, well, let me just dump money into the markets, right? Let me dump money into the markets since people ain't out there working, and maybe that'll help the market, build some confidence in people that's home that maybe, looking at the stock market as a gauge to say, how well the economy is doing, because the majority of people out there have no clue about this stuff. That's why we are, as I always say, you guys are special, right? You guys are extraordinarily special, whether you give yourself that credit or you don't, because you're doing something that most people feel like they don't have the mental capacity to do, right? To be your own owner, operator, investor, trader, however, right? You're taking pretty much your life, what they call it, by the reins, right? Grab the bulls by the horn, literally, and putting your money to work for you, as opposed to you going to have to work for it all the time, right? So you are an entrepreneur, right? You are a risk taker, right? A lot of people don't, again, can't stomach what we do, even though it's not that complicated once you really understand some basic fundamentals about it. And so with that being said, people now, again, coming to you guys to help them make sense of all this to a degree, right? The overall market, the economy, geopolitics, whatever the case, because we have to follow that stuff by default, right? Whether you that type of person take it, deep into its value or not, but either way, you have to follow this stuff, right? Because it affects our market, right? And so again, just kind of bringing that to full circle, right? There's no way, again, you're going to have all this, again, this economic, tarp of uncertainty hanging over the markets, hanging over you and, my life, your family member's life, our well-being, right? Where you're going to have an aggressive, again, marketplace, and you don't necessarily know where you're going to be a year or two from, a month or two now away from here with this coronavirus, in terms of the damage that's going to do. Keep in mind, I'm speaking strictly not just even the death, because there's no price you can put on someone's death, but the damage is going to do to the overall economy, right? Because every day you're sitting home, right, not performing your particular, job or duty or task that you do that make up the broader market of the economy as a whole, we're taking the L, right? The economy is taking the L. And so that's why, again, I brought up that picture about that mortgage bill, so to speak, that rent bill that came due today on April 1st, in terms of, and that's a round ballpark figure, but about $81 billion in rent came due today. And maybe a quarter of it will get paid. Maybe a quarter. That's just my opinion. I think maybe a quarter of that 81 billion may get paid. And that's because these people are doing it just because they just want to be up on their bills, right? They're not, thinking like, man, I don't joke, be trying to double down on me when they lift this. Don't try to come get it all from me, right? But by statute of the law, so to speak, these kind of, impromptu laws, so to speak, you are covered, right? And not necessarily having to pay your bills because you're going through an economic hardship. Are you not? Right? You are, right? No fault of your own. And so because of that, you can, allocate your money to other things that's more important, right? Or what you may see is more important, I should say. Not that your rent is not important, but something that you may see that's more important. Are you guys follow me there? So $81 billion. And every day we're hemorrhaging money every day these businesses are closed and shut down, this, that, and the third. Again, we don't even manufacture stuff here anyway. So even if, man, we have manufacturing plants right now, right? So here's how it's crazy, because the few manufacturing plants that we do got, all of them been commandeered by the government under the Defense Act, right? Now you got Ford making, ventilators, and we're partnering up with GM to make ventilators. You got Tesla making, they also making ventilators. You got companies out there making the masks and the N95 masks and also the face shield. And you got companies doing that stuff now, right? When before they running, grease and lube and transmission fluid through the assembly line, right? And that stuff there definitely don't move the needle, meaning ventilators and masks, than a Ford truck margin price would be. Even though they don't make a lot of money on them car stuff anyway, too. That's another conversation for another day, right? That's why they got to sell a lot of them. But y'all get my point, right? We're at a crawl. We're pretty much at a standstill. Not even a crawl at this point. We're at a standstill, basically, right? So again, there's a lot that it would take for the overall, again, economy to actually get back up and running at a level where it was before all of it got disturbed. Hence, that's why you keep hearing Trump talk about what? Man, we had the best economy. Man, man, we just had the awesome, man. We were rowing. We were just, man, we were all time highs. And I mean, that's why he can't help but stay, caught up in that land of, man, I was almost, it's like he was in a race. Like, I was almost there. Technically, he was saying that to himself. I was almost there. All I had to do was keep this economy where it was, keep the stock market pumped up and elevated and frothy, right? And people are going to vote for me just on default of that alone, right? Because again, let's keep it real. People throw away a lot of the ethics and morals when it comes to money, right? We see that every day in Wall Street, right? There's a lot of greed and froth. Y'all seen those shows like American Greed, right? And some of these people that we knew, seen before, they be on that show. Like celebrities and all that, American Greed, senators and all that kind of stuff too, whatever. But they be on that show, defrauding people, right? Again, y'all know America ain't nothing but a big con artist, right? Again, we don't have any really no true manufacturing, so we just talk a good game. So, and when it comes to what's called the gift, the gab, it comes in relation to what? The service industry, right? We're a heavily service industry environment, right? We sell a lot of services to one another. So we just hustling each other every day. Hey, I got this marketing package to sell you, right? I can show you how to make, turn $5 into 50,000, right? Y'all, come on, y'all know what I'm saying. Don't sit there and act like y'all know what I'm talking about, right? It's a lot of that all over the internet, right? And they suck you in $5,000. Hey, we can show you how to take that $5,000 and you follow our template, our business model, right? And then before you know it, you can turn that into 100,000, right? It's tons of that stuff out there. Multi-level marketing, direct marketing, you name it, right? But again, there's no factories at the level that we know we should have at this point, and innovating products to really put us in a position where we got some kind of financial backbone. Meaning, if we had to close our borders to other nations, and we pretty much can still sustain ourselves, we don't really have that blanket of security, right? And so that's why I say this again. In relation to an economy that has that kind of level of security blanket, manufacturing at high, again, like China, because look how fast it took China to snap back. If you've been looking at a lot of the data that's been coming out of China, you would act like they didn't even have the coronavirus, even though their demos are going to be skewed. We know China don't necessarily tell the truth, right, when it comes to that stuff. But a lot of their PMI numbers and all that stuff like that, you act like they ain't missed a beat, because again, a lot of the world depends on China because they are the factory hub of the planet at this point. They've taken that mantle from a lot of other nations that don't necessarily want to do that kind of work or pay their workers the kind of money that's necessary to run these factory jobs. China has took it on, or they reverse engineered somebody else's ingenuity, and now they're selling it back to the other markets. Void of a patent, right? And they just alter it enough to where it kind of gets around the patent. So they went to work. They pulled themselves up by their quote unquote their bootstraps and went to work and built a mechanized industry where they can literally shut their borders down to the entire world and still sustain. I think I'm safe to say that. I think I'm safe in saying that. Where us, on the other hand, we can't necessarily do that. We could. It would be rough though. Like all y'all little land, the government probably come take it and start telling you to plant some tomatoes, right? We better plant some tomatoes out there, right? We said in the South we say tomatoes, not even tomatoes. We better plant some tomatoes out there, right? And we come to collect, when they sprout and start growing, right? To feed the people. And so again, bringing it full circle again, everything I've been saying, where will we be in about 2 or 3 months from now? Do you think we'll be back at that point where, at least halfway to back where we was before we fail again from so-called grace up here? Right? So if you look at this fall, just from this perspective, okay, you gain back maybe about what? Close to that of a third off this little bounce, right? And that's again after the fall, about about 1 month and a few days, you had this nasty staggering drop. You retrace no more than say 218 at the top, up here around about 260, 263, right? So that means you had to retrace of what? about 50 something points, somewhere around there. Roughly, I think the Dow was like what, about 20, what was like about 20, 30%, the S&P 500, somewhere like that. Something close to that, like 17, 18, 20 something percent. I have to run the numbers in my head. Just hypothetically, you gain back close about 50 something points, right? Close to 50 something points. Close to it, right? And now you're what? You're turning back over. Well, I got my brothers on the panel right now. Over Chris, even Raul. You know, what would again in you guys' minds, right? What would make you think that, you know, the market at this point, right, is not I would say strong enough to hold up at that? What would cause the market not to be strong enough, I should say, excuse me, to hold that point up there near that 260? What would cause it to turn back over after having so much momentum come off the bottom?
I'd say a lack of trust in how we're dealing with this virus and the fact that it'll probably continue to get way, way worse.
That and
Over Chris, what's your take on it?
that and the fact that, you know, Trump, when Trump opened his mouth, it messes up everything. And the lockdown to April 30th, the extension, so to speak, after he said, you know, by Easter. So who's gonna trust that? He basically
So you guys going on with
yeah.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, he just fumbled the ball, and people
That,
can't trust what he say.
yeah, and like the economy, we're just going to continue to see like really bad fundamentals coming out for the next quarters. So I think people are realizing that those numbers that we claim to be only like for one quarter are probably going to extend into different ones and continue to have an effect on our economy.
Right, because this quarter started off bad, so don't look good for the next quarter or the rest of this one. So, my opinion.
Right. I'm happy y'all brought it up because you see how it's always it's always going to be, again, because you're feeling it just like I'm feeling it, right? So it's not like we're on another different continent or another nation. We're all in this thing together, and you're feeling it from a very common sense perspective of some of the things that not necessarily rubbing you the right way. You see what I'm saying? It's not rubbing you the right way in essence where you will feel confident enough in it. Again, whether you challenging Trump leadership or you just saying you challenging the value of of the economy to perform at a rate that they're trying to say that it is and can, or that is back, right, to a degree where it's not necessarily really affecting us, because those are the talking points that we're all trying to make sense of, right? And so you're looking for, again, the one thing above all things is leadership, right? And then does the actions of the leadership back that of what you would say, hey, here's a good benchmark to say, again, we're back, or we're at a point where we can start being forward thinking about where the economy is going to be, right? Because that's what the market is. It's one big forward thinking apparatus of money and liquidity and inventions and innovations and all that stuff put into one, right? Mergers, acquisition, the whole nine. Y'all get it, right? So if they can't timeline it out in a way where they could be a little more confident, then you're going to have, again, a level of outflow in the market, which you got here, and it's turning over, which we kind of brought. I mean, we already foreseeing this, right? We already saw this picture, right? We already saw this picture like yesterday, right? Did we not? Right? Didn't we not talk about this last week religiously, right? That at this curve, at this 260 level, the market's going to do what? Roll over, right? Yeah. I was beat. I was beating that drum, beating that drum for the last week and a half, to be exact, somewhere around there, to be honest. But by the last week, I was beating that drum, right? And most people like, man, I don't know what you're talking about, African Emporium, man. Look, bro, man, we put up 2,000 a day. We put up 2 racks today, right? Last week, that's what it was, right? 2 racks. Matter of fact, this candle right here, that's a 2-rack candle there, right? In terms of the Dow Jones, obviously, but that's like 2,000 points. Load up in that little candle there. You know what I'm saying? In the intraday scenario. And so, again, imagine what that does to a bullish trader, his mentality or her mentality. Would that not make a person get excited about this market? especially after what they just came out of, coming from down up here all the way down here.
Facts.
So it's breeding again a false sense of security. It's fool's gold. What better day to talk about it on what, April Fool's Day? So guess what the bear is saying over here today to these people that was in this counter right here? What are they saying? April Fools. What they say back in the school? They had a little rhyme that the April Fools eat your sight. What's the other? April Fools eat your shoes or something. I don't know. Y'all know what I'm talking about, man. Y'all. I know I ain't old. I know I'm old without that. But there even rhymes that the April Fool, right? That's what the bear is saying today. These people here, especially this guy here, and these guys up here, definitely. These guys right here, man, they sweating right now. These hookers right here, they sweating bullets, man. They sweating bologna sandwiches. Man, look at him. They hurting. Right? Their position's about to come down to get, they hoping they don't get wiped out. But basically, they're back at what? Square one all over again. Now, and these a little bit of profit they got from here to here that they did not probably take up here, because guess what? The worst thing you could do after having a retrace like this here, and especially those guys that got in here and got excited about the market and wrote it up here, again, knowing that we got all this uncertainty, and then they didn't what? They didn't take profit. We all been there before. It's like a deer in the headlights, right? They're paused, right? Again, you stuck. Paralysis of analysis, right? But they didn't take any profit. Not that they took all of it, but they probably didn't take no profit. If you didn't take any profit, then shame on you, or anybody that you may be following that you're trading with, that's telling you to hold after you caught this level of a bounce and saying, no, we're going to go higher here. We're going to break the 28 moving average here. We're going to push on up and into that 270 level. Because I can show you the post where people were talking like that. And I'm like, whoa, that's irresponsible. That is very irresponsible to tell a person to do that after they got that, luckily, got this bounce and didn't take any money off the table. Because right now, again, they done lost it all. And they in the hole if they didn't, have a stop loss set down here, or at least, maybe a third of that count, right? Hopefully they got smart and set like a trailing stop, or maybe, a third of the count, they wrote it up, to make some profit and lock it in. But if they didn't do that and they just, it's going to bounce, do you want to risk that? Right? That's the question I'm asking you guys, right? Because you're learning how to, again, analyze stuff, how to look at stuff, how to really, again, make this stuff make sense in your head, without being kind of, over the top. Do you think, is it worth the risk? Do you think it's worth the risk to hold it? All right. And you got to be really thinking about, this is a long-term hold, because it could be any asset. Now, if we think about the SP 500, then we understand, this is a very liquid, liquid ticket every day, right? It's the most liquid asset out there on average, right? And only so now because the Federal Reserve is pumping money, obviously, and the banks are obviously directing traffic to a lot of these ETFs and mutual funds and things like that, right? So the volume is just going to be popping, right? We saw that last week when we did that show, Friday? When that Friday, Raul or Chris, when we saw that volume in the SPY, when it was over like 200.
When we were looking at the dark pools.
Yeah, it was like 200 million shares traded in the S&P 500, and it typically trades about 70, 80, 60, 80 million a day, somewhere around there. Crazy numbers. So it's funny too, because real quick, let's do this real quick, right? Y'all know I like to. I'll be bouncing all over the place, but again, I try to connect it in a way where we see exactly, the depth of this, right? So let's go here. Let's scroll up here. All right, what SP 500 right here, right? Here we go. Right now it's at 249. All right, going into power hour in about 11 minutes from now. Right now, today we're down. How much volume we have in the market today? At this point, how many shares been traded in the SP 500?
131.25 mil.
Right, and we still got about an hour left. Now, this is on the downturn, though. We're on the market is on the downside today, on the downturn. Now, Friday, the market was on an uptrend, right? Wasn't on uptrend before it sold off at the end of the day? Yeah, Friday, remember the market was marching up Friday. Then it sold off at the near the end. You remember?
Yep.
And so, and the volume really picked up that last, 30 something minutes in the end of the day, right? Because going into the weekend.
And it got crazy amounts of volume.
Right. It's like, man, where did all the money coming from? Now ask yourself, who would be selling the market off that almost that close to the end of the bell if they was confident in this market that we were back?
Negative people. As in, like, no one would do that. Sorry.
Because they built what? A support. They built their base or a position at a point where they ain't at a lower price. The goal is what? Buy low, sell high, right? So if you think the market is back and it's gonna push higher, then you're gonna what? Hold your position. Or if you got enough where you can take a little bit of profit, again, that's always the greater good. Take some money off the table, right? Don't be sitting there just holding it, just be holding it. Take a little profit, and then let your other soldiers continue to what? Fight for you in the battle, right? This battle, pushing up to the upside, right? Going up Normandy Hill, right? That's basically what it was, right? They fighting up Normandy Hill, right? But apparently, again, using the greater sense of understanding how the market truly works, right? Meaning how to separate emotions away from understanding what skilled and sound technical analysis and fundamental analysis really entails and details. That's what's going to save you and your account in more ways you can ever imagine. You have to have that level of discipline. It's hard to do sometimes because the human emotions will overtake you, especially when money involved. I see it all the time. And so one of the biggest things I'm always telling people is that, right? Number one, besides we know one of the golden rules is that you never invest money that you are not willing to lose, right? That you don't have to lose. Never invest that money. But also even more important is that you have to learn how to be indifferent to money, right? Which is about the same, but it's somewhat of a slight difference. You have to learn how to be indifferent to money, right? I mean, if you set it aside for a certain mandate or a goal or a job, then let it go to work. Don't be thinking about just because, oh man, I got 1,000. Man, I just lost 10. Oh, sell everything. Dude, you got $1,000, you lost 10. I mean, I get it. You want to lose that. But again, if your technical skills and your fundamental skills didn't match up to the degree where it was honored in that particular stock that you bought, I'm not speaking right now, speaking strictly as a trader, not an investor, then guess what? Don't take that trade. Or, again, make sure that you understand the parameters surrounding everything so you don't feel like you just so tired attached to it where you can't let that thing unfold, right? Let that trade, reveal itself and do what it's going to do, right? That's what this is all about. You have to understand it. I'm speaking strictly to the traders at this point now, right? Even the long-term investor as well, but still, with the long-term investment, it has a time horizon, right? You're saying, okay, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, 3/4 of a year from now, a year from now, right? Where would that asset be, right? It ain't hard to think at this point, if you bought Apple, even right now at 241, that it's going to be a lot higher, maybe in December of 2020, right? It's almost certain that Apple probably be a little bit more higher than. That's just based upon statistics, right? Again, forward thinking in terms of what Apple is able to produce in terms of its shareholders that are pretty much loyal to its base. It's kind of like those people who are loyal to Berkshire Hathaway, right? And Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, those guys. Right, because you know what you're getting. You're getting a best in breed business, right? You're getting a best in breed, quote unquote, product, right? So you know that they're going to make good decisions financially, fiducially responsible people to take care of their shareholders, and you get the same mentality coming out of Apple, right? But then you say to yourself, could I possibly get Apple a little lower than 241? That's the question I pose to y'all. Any of you guys on the back chat is watching it, even anybody that's in the YouTube back chat, do y'all think we can possibly get Apple lower than 240 or 241 right now? Anybody? Right? And not just because it's selling off today and it's down 12 points. Obviously, it seems as a given. But if I was to ask y'all individually, do y'all think, we can get Apple lower than 241?
Yes.
You would say, yeah, Ro. What about you, over Chris?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying I looked at the chart and it already broke 240. So earlier during this downtrend, so I'm sure it'll break it again with SPY going down and the Nasdaq and all those things.
What about you, over Chris?
Lower. I think it'll hit a 200 mark.
Oh, so you actually throwing them on it. So you think it's going down to 200?
I think it's possible.
Right? And I'm saying it because if you think you can get Apple lower than 241,
Yeah.
right? And let's
Yeah.
say coming out of last week, what we saw out of last week, right? We was looking at that chart last week, right?
Mhm.
And when the market's bottom, obviously, because Apple definitely trades in correlation to the S&P 500. When I say correlation, for some of you guys may be new to this, meaning it trades, pretty much parallel to the S&P 500, meaning Apple, like, almost near tick for tick sometimes, how people are mirrored in their trading, how they set the algorithms to trade in relation to the S&P 500, right?
Right.
So
Mhm.
you would think that, again, the spies, pulling off the low, they pulled off the low. Apple really didn't even drop as much as a lot of those stocks did because of the coronavirus. Keep in mind, the high of the Apple was like what, 330, somewhere around there, 330, right? It's down 241 day, but it trended for a long time around 270, right? 270, 280, 260. At a point when other stocks were down over 100 points, 90 points. You know what I'm saying? A lot major point. Boeing, look at Boeing again. Boeing was down in the toilet. It was on this last leg before it went down that little tube. It was a wrap, right? But Apple again was still holding its own amidst all that uncertainty. Because guess what? It's a lot of big money got money in Apple, right? And they definitely don't want to, give up, without a fight. And so again, it's not hard to surmise that Apple again will be a lot higher around December 2020 than it is right now at around 241 or 240. And so the question is, as I asked my brothers on the panel here, do you think you can get Apple lower than 240 or 241? Right, same way, in the back chat, you guys, do you think you can get Apple cheaper? So if you knew coming into the markets, right? If you knew coming into the markets and you understanding, trying to learn how to do proper fundamental analysis and technical analysis, and you're looking at previous chart history, because somebody told you how you kind of map things out as the past being a predictor of future potentiality and profitability, possibly. If you learn how to say, well, at some point it was trading at this point, at some point it was trading at this point, now it's trading at this point. See what I'm saying? So it's not hard to kind of use it as a track record, if that makes sense, right? Using it as a track record, right? So that's how you learn how to also, again, capture potential buyers who were sitting back at a point where they might still be long the stock and ain't sold their positions, right? They call it a support level, right? If the stock is going down, right? So now looking at the S&P 500, going back to that real quick, right? Running back over to the S&P 500. Just want to show you a quick little parallel here, right? Right. Again, we want to make sure that we working and not just talking over here. You got to make this stuff make sense, right? You got to make it make sense. So guess what? This little point right here, support, right? This little top of this little candle here, right? It got broken, right? This 247, it got broken, right? Because you can see here when it gapped down below that here, that it instantly, ate that all up, off this gap down here. From here to here, that's the gap down from this morning, right? Now you're eating into this candle here, right? You slowly but surely eating into it, right? You're eating all that money back that was made from here to up here. You see what I'm saying? And so Apple would be the same reality. So you go back here, guess what? Now that's that same candle there. When people actually got bullish and they start buying Apple back here, or not Apple, but SPY here, right? And they say, okay, we back. I think we back here. And guess what happened, right after that? Doof, sold off again, right? Just kept catching what they call a falling knife. And so now you back at this candle here. So now guess what? This candle here is on radar, right? You guys see that there? So you're saying on top of that candle will be what they call a mental support for the downside, at this point. And obviously, obviously it clears this candle here, but definitely here, if we get down to this 242 or 243 here, as you can see here, that's going to be problematic for what? For bulls. Because it can easily what? Consume the entire candle in 1 day's worth of trading. Again, that's probability, right? That's plausible, but it's also, a thing where it has to, really have to have a lot of downside pressure. But that's just a potentiality, I should say. It can easily dwarf that entire candle all the way down, deflate it all the way back down to about 234 if we make it that far down to support. Does that make sense a little bit? So you're trying to establish a line of supremacy, right? Right? You're trying to establish a line of where we are in terms of support resistance. So the last time, again, going back, we know that it broke that point going higher here of support. Now you go back over here to the previous chart history, right? This long red line is where we're at today, right? You see it? That's where we're at today, right? Now, if you look into this body candle, see this big body candle, this bullish one here? Because you already penetrated this one here slightly. But this one right here, right? It's important. Or even this little guy right here. But the base of this candle here, right? The base of this candle here, or the body of the candle, is around about what? 242.76, near 243. Now, isn't that ironic? Isn't that ironic? The strength of that candle parallels almost to the T, this candle what? Right here. As its support resistance point. But at that point, it became a what? A point of what? Resistance to the upside. Right? So now, coming back down, again, if it comes back down, because keep in mind, this is all entertainment. Right? This is not me saying it's going to do it. It's not. But I'm just laying in perspective. Again, it can easily consume that entire candle because of the fact that that last one back then was, had a lot of meat on it. Right? Look at this candle. There's a lot of meat on that candle. That's, to me, I'm pretty sure y'all know I always like to have fun. That look like a chicken leg. All right, I don't eat chicken in there. That like a chicken leg to me. All that meat up there. Look at all that meat. That's one of the more chicken that got a lot of growth hormones in it. Right? Y'all seen them chickens like that? Like a super chicken leg. All that meat on that bone. Right? That's the bone, and this the meat on the bone. Right? That's what they call. That's the big piece of chicken there. Say the big piece of chicken for the daddy, right? Don't be eating up the big piece of chicken. You get that little small thing like this right here. Right? You get that little chicken wing. You get the drumette. Right? You say that big piece of chicken for daddy. Well, guess what? For us, right now, this is the big piece of chicken, excuse me, for us who what? Trading the market back down at this point. I need to be able to strip all that meat up that bone there. If I get all the meat up that bone there, oh boy, I'm moving on to the next piece of chicken, right? Because I didn't get filled here. If it's getting good, because y'all know if you eat something that you really like and it gets good, and it's like on like one piece of it, you're like, man, if I could just have another one of those, right? It start getting good. So I'm just using that analogy. It's the same way right now in the market, and that's to how we find value or make money in the markets in moments where we kind of put our thinking caps on, right? Our forward thinking caps on, and we're actually being able to land that kind of level of gratification that of the market at that moment, right? We got the prize, right? Because we studied, we planned, we positioned ourselves, we worked whatever to go out to be able to buy or afford that potential piece of chicken. Does that make sense a little bit? I know I have some weird analogies, but I like to make it make sense so you don't necessarily see it as something that's overly complicated, right? Because really investing and trading really isn't. It really isn't, right? It's patterns, right? It's trends. It's price action, right? It's investor sentiment. Those are the main major ingredients, right? Right? And you can, dissect those a little further and go deeper into all those what it is, but that's all it really is. And so right now I see a pattern, right? Right? I see a natural progression, what a sine wave would normally look like, even though it's a V shape. But I see an arching top, and now we get ready to roll back down a little bit. Now it can either stop and slam on the brakes tomorrow, right here, and start going shooting right back up, right? Now I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. God dog. Put came back like a champ. I'm back. You raggedy behind L. I don't know if it's gonna last, guys. We'll see. But I was over here doing all kind of stuff. And this thing probably cut off. Can anyone hear me on YouTube? Press 1 if you can hear me on YouTube.
I can hear you in the back channel.
You can hear me? Okay. Damn, I'm back then. I'm back.
Yeah.
I'm back. Let me go to YouTube. Okay. Man, I don't know what I don't know what happened, but hey. Ain't no telling. Ain't no telling.
Yeah, I went out for like a few minutes too. I don't know what happened to the service, man. Something's going on.
But you know it's been happening a lot because you over Chris, you saw Dr. D's post the other day when she was talking about have y'all been noticing everything kind of look glitchy lately? Like internets and live streams off of Zoom. Zoom is on the they on the fire too because some stuff was happening over there at Zoom. Besides what I dealt with them with. But they on the fire or some more stuff too. So these platforms are a little unstable. So I guess I need to kind of also pre-warn people going forward if it does cut out because again the fact that everybody's home, consuming a lot of bandwidth and not only just that, but again it's a major traffic jam. It's a major it's a major airwave traffic jam right now. And then if people ain't able,
I could do Facebook.
I'm gonna make sure I try. I'm gonna make sure I kind of go through all my little check downs in the future next time I do one just in case. But I'm pretty sure that's definitely what it is because people not at the actual location of some of these buildings too, and it's all computer generated, and they need them technicians in the house. Technician like, man, unless you gonna pay me hazard pay, man, I ain't coming up in there, man. I ain't coming up in there with no warehouse, no internet.
Unless you provide 95 masks, I'm not coming.
Right. I need one of them real gas masks, suits and all.
Yep.
Mess with y'all, get wrong. Well, all right. Well, I don't know how much it's gonna last, but yeah. But so what I'll do, I'll just end it here, then I'll start another one later. Because again, that little breakup, I don't know if it'll happen again, whatnot. But but as just looking at the market again, we got like about roughly 40 minutes left before the bell, the retail side of the house. We do have the SP 500 here now down to 245. Matter of fact, man, that thing went out too. Man. And I got the doggone gigabyte internet service too, man. Look at that, bro. Play around, man. I don't light a fire underneath Verizon. Man. But I don't know if it's that or just, again, everything just spotty because, we jammed up. And we jammed up because there's, everybody home is supposed to, manning these servers and all that stuff. Right. But just real quick, again, while I am still on, just in case it cut off again, but just kind of look at the SP 500 real quick. Going back to what we was all speaking about, just kind of bringing it full circle, bringing that entire conversation full circle, right? Where are we now, right? Where are we now? Down 245, right? I think when I started speaking about it was down rough around about two, right at near the VWAP, somewhere around there. I think we're somewhere around here, maybe, give or take, somewhere around that point. But either way, again, just go to show you what I was saying earlier. I was making a point that the strength of the market is not, again, it's not based upon one soundbite and one soundbite only, right? One analyst that's telling you to be bullish and he's just super bullish because obviously he has to say that because he has clients, right? He has to keep those clients on his books. He has to make sure he goes out there and find assets and things that he can park money in as if he's working, right? But again, for the average retail trader, for some of you guys who are just not starting or who are just already been in the game and just trying to figure out where can they take some positions at in this market if you're feeling pretty aggressive on it, again, I say to you again, just my opinion only, and there's still a lot of uncertainty, right? There's still a lot of uncertainty out there where I would say If you are a bargain shopper, if you really claim, that ideal of being a good bottom fisherman or a bottom dip buyer, then, by all means, you can definitely get the market a little lower. Just my opinion. Again, my opinion goes buy low, sell high. And so, again, to be buying where we were when we came out of 260, 261, a lot of those people, again, how much are they down now? Right? They're down over what? Over 15 points right now. And that's if they held. And I know, again, y'all know how this stuff is. A lot of people held. That's those people who's very, very staunch-minded, hard-headed, they, whatever. They ain't necessarily a bad thing. If they choose to be that way, that's their money. But there's a lot of people who are still holding from 260. They holding that bag. And they using that same talking point. The Fed's gonna come bail me out. The Fed's gonna come bail me out. Right? Well, where were the Feds today? Crickets. Where was Jerome Powell and all those guys at today? Well, they seem to have, carried the market the other day. All right, they was able to carry the market the other day. So again, what's different today? Well, obviously more so now than dealing with this coronavirus, these numbers, because the market, turned out to be bullish Monday. How was the market bullish Monday after what we got out of, from the president Sunday? See what I'm saying? So it shows you that, again, they're willing to do any and everything they can to paint the picture or to, again, we call it prestidigitation, right? Sleight of hands. That's basically what it was. It's a magician trick, right? It's basically what it is. They're concerned with the market getting about the lows because, again, naturally you want to be bullish the market, right? Naturally you would think that way, right? However, again, once you get to a point where you understand how this stuff works, you remove that entire understanding away from your mindset and you say, where's the opportunity at in the market today? Which way is the trend today so far, right? Where's the inflows coming in at? Where's outflows going out at, right? And you trade strictly on that. Don't get wrapped up in the talking points, although some of that stuff does have an effect on the market, meaning, a fundamental mental type of catalyst to a degree, but you don't bank on that. Right? Don't you dare bank on that, right? You say to yourself, okay, where's the least path of resistance today to get to the bag? If it's pumping to the upside, they pretty much found a way to kind of quiet the volatility and they just melt the market up like they did Monday, then guess what? You ride that trend. But you don't hang out in it like in the coronavirus ain't nowhere to be found. Good luck, right? Unless you're going to find a little island out there in the Caribbean somewhere. And you better hope you ain't got that Rona, because we saw on that map, Rona was hitting them places you thought it wouldn't even be at. It's Rona up even them places now. You can't even run from Rona right now, right? But again, on a serious note, just be cautious, be careful, right? Just keep in mind, you're doing this thing minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day, right? Week by week. Because none of us have any kind of clear understanding of what's going to come, the next 2 or 3 days, or the next week or the next month dealing with this coronavirus. We got somewhat of an understanding or a model that's telling us we're going to have so many deaths or so many contracted cases, day over day based upon, how they're trying to filter the numbers in and out. But ultimately, again, every day that we're sitting down, right, any day that we're sitting down in this economy, this country, that means we're hemorrhaging money. We're losing massive amounts of money. And today, a big bill came due today. A very big bill came due today. What was that big bill? That rent bill. That rent bill. To the tune of about $81 billion, right? Yeah, give or take, plus minus. But that's $81 billion that probably won't see, no banks today. Because, once a landlord he got to deposit it, right? So it won't see any of those institutions where they can count it, right? And then report those numbers back to the what? It's the pertinent agencies, Department of Treasury, IRS, and all that stuff. They won't see the light of day or none of that money. So that money obviously goes into a macro tally of where we are, obviously from that that statistical aspect. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So when that number actually does come out to be revealed, which we got a big number coming out tomorrow, which is what? What's the big number tomorrow?
Is it something with unemployment or jobless claims?
Right, exactly. Thursdays. Thursdays, right?
Oh, I forgot it was
Trump.
Wednesday. Shoot.
Yeah, we had non-farm payroll numbers today. We had PMI numbers today. We had non-farm payroll today, right? Those numbers that came out there. Europe had theirs as well. I think China dropped some data too last night. But today we had non-farm payroll and PMI. Tomorrow jobs came. Now we know, again, people are always gonna say, well, we already know numbers gonna be bad. Well, last week they said they thought them was gonna be around about what? Close to 1 million, right? How many was it?
3.2.
3.2 million. Right? This week they trying to say what? About 5, 7, 8 million, right? Somewhere, no, what they're saying, I'm just throwing out. The first thing I saw was around about 4 or 5 million. I'm gonna be honest. They were saying about 4 or 5 million. Now, real quick, right before I get ready to get off here and go my other business, we'll come back on later if we can. What do y'all think that number gonna be tomorrow for our jobless claims? And I'm asking everybody in the back chat and also on the panel. Everybody gonna throw around some numbers, right? We're gonna do some homework. How many jobless claims do y'all think gonna be on the blotter tomorrow when they drop that beautiful bean footage? And just knowing that New Yorkers obviously they line up at New York unemployment office like free concert tickets to your favorite rapper.
Multi-million.
What you saying, over Chris?
I'm saying multi-millions. Not a specific number, but I know it's gonna be millions.
Multi-million. What about you, Raul? You got a number, a roundabout number?
I don't have the exact number, but I'm gonna say it's definitely more than the 3.2 last week.
So anything more than what they dropped last week. Anybody in the back chat listen in? How many people do y'all think gonna file for unemployment or already have filed for unemployment from last week till today? What numbers y'all say? And last time, remember it was like 3.2 million had filed. How many of y'all think gonna file this upcoming week? Knowing that also on top of that, we just got word that they're gonna sit us down for another 15 days outside of Easter, right? With that whole Trump mess, right? Turned out that was we ain't even gonna talk about. That's why I ain't even talking about, because y'all know we destroyed that talking point. Like, you must be out your rabbit mind. Think we finna be back to work by Easter. To my church is gonna be packed to the rim and all this stuff. And get what? Them stupid behind preachers, no disrespect, but they're silly behind pastors went out there and started holding services. This past Sunday? Y'all saw all that stuff on the news? How they arrested those preachers? They still went in and had services and all in Louisiana and Florida. I said, look at the idiots. Right? And Jerry Falwell, y'all remember we roasted him too, right? The president of Liberty University told them students to come back.
Oh man.
What happened to those students? News coming out now that that they got some of them got that Rona.
They're all going home.
They got that Rona. They came right back to school just to get a good dose of that Rona, and now they're finna run right on back home and give it to their parents.
Yep.
How irresponsible? Right. How
dumbest,
irresponsible is that?
Dumbest stuff ever, man.
Ever. Man, y'all know the meme's gonna be like super crazy after this coronavirus really, when it get past up. Man, we're gonna be roasting people for about next year or two. Y'all, they're gonna be like, man, y'all remember this idiot here? Y'all remember this idiot that was out there, because people, again, in this country have a hard time with authority. They have a hard time with reality, because again, we breed a false sense of security here that's unlike anywhere in the world, because you think you got the ability to go to McDonald's at 2 a.m. in the morning and nobody else can. So you think you got something. I can go get me a Big Mac at 2 a.m., huh? I can go pop a Willie and up on the Capitol building, huh? That kind of mentality, which obviously again can put you in a lot of adverse risks if you're not cautious. So it's the same thing goes back to the market. Can y'all see that parallel? Again, fool's gold, false sense of security. We back. And today we down after getting pumped up Monday. Right? So I just say, man, again, over here, we gonna critical think. We're gonna be critical thinking over here. Man, look at that. That 20-day moving average clear as day right here. Clear as day. Clear as day. Right around that 260, even though we know it went up a little bit above 260. Y'all know how this stuff work in the market. If your fundamental, your technical solid, I ain't worried about the next little 2 points. The little 2 point, that's a lot in terms of the SP 500, granted, but I ain't worried. I double down up here. I double down up here on a few of my positions. And people like, man, you can get ran over. You're gonna get ran over. I'm like, okay. I'm like, okay. Not knowing I already got, some position I was already kind of sitting in earlier too. But regardless, I plan based upon me being able to assess the overall picture, not just the moment. So people got caught up in the moment. You know what I'm saying? And again, hey, it was bloody out there. It's bloody out there today. It's bloody out there today. So you got the SP 500 sitting there fighting for its dear life. Again, we got what, about 30 minutes for the bell. Again, you had companies like Restoration Hardware. People got bullish on Restoration Hardware, right? That's a Warren Buffett company. I mean, he invested in Restoration, right? Everybody like, oh, I'm definitely buying, Restoration Hardware loan. Warren Buffett invested in it, right? And man, you need that company right now. Stuff like that. People try to make sense of it. They're trying to politic it in their head. Why they want to be loan Restoration Hardware. All that kind of stuff, right? So you already know how I am. Right? If I see anything that may be, I try to dig deep as I possibly can. Right? I always try to dig deep as I possibly can. Right? So real quick, let's run right on over to Restoration Hardware. Mr. Warren Buffett, right? This is Warren Buffett's company. He invested in this company. How dare you go against that? That's Warren Buffett, bro. Where Warren Buffett at right now? Look at Buffett right now. Let me show you where Buffett came from. Back it up a little more. Hold up, back it up a little bit more. Warren Buffett was sitting up here at 120, meaning all the people that were, we finna go higher. We finna go fast, right? We finna go fast. That's the little Ricky Bobby types in the station wagon, right? With the four barrel carburetor, dual exhaust pipes, right? And nitrous oxide on the station wagon. We finna go fast, right? Where Warren Buffett that day?
Last.
Look at them dumps. You talking about pumping dump?
First or last?
Right? If you ain't first, you last.
Yep.
And if you last, that means something wrong with you. You must be retarded or something. They probably say some silliness like that.
Yeah.
No disrespect to anybody on that list, but y'all, it's just crazy. So 120 all the way down to 88.
That's tough.
That ain't no typo, right? that ain't no, that ain't by mistake there. And it's still dumb. Look at it, it's still dumb. It's still thrown up here on the back end of the day. It can't even catch a bid on the back end of the day because the momentum to the downside is stronger than that of what? To the upside, right?
Yep.
Right? So real quick, let's run right on over there. Look at that beautiful beam footage, right? Right? Because y'all know I'm shorting it. Ain't no mistake. Ain't no mistake because you know what? real quick, y'all know we work over here. We demonstrate. Just be talking. So again, I again, I looked at all the things that we supposed to. I again, check the list, see if we're naughty, we're nice, all that stuff, right? I was adding into the position. I ain't got a ton in it because I took some off. I'm smart, right? I took some off the other day when it was dumping, right? And add a little bit more to it, right? So that's why my average now is what, 112, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you do the risk versus reward ratio in that reality, right? So that 100 shares, and this, well, you can do it at that point. So 100 shares time what? Time 100, about 100, let's say $112 stock. How much is that? That position would typically cost about what? About 10 racks and a little change, right? About 11 racks, right?
11,200.
Right. So the obviously difference is right here when you add that unrealized to the what? The position size to a degree, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of a risk versus reward, obviously now at this point because the stock came down, it had the catalyst. Again, it had the catalyst. So that's still about what? About what? A quarter off that 10 rack value.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of my risk, being able to define that, obviously in this stock, obviously coming down more. But again, utilizing the ability to, again, small amounts can turn to big amounts if you learn how to position yourself properly. But not only that, again, you got to find those ones who are, again, subjected to a lot of the stuff that we know everybody else dealing with. That was still sitting up pretty high, going into an earnings report of all things, and you got the coronavirus issue happening, right? On top of the fact that, again, you coming off a very, very bullish week, right? Meaning last week, these stocks were ramping back up to the upside, right? Like, as if they could do no wrong, right? So get it. So real quick, let me do this real quick. I'm gonna get off here real quick. And then I'm gonna jump off. So
So it's at,
last week, go ahead, over Chris.
you said it's at, oh, okay, it's at 87 right now. Oh yeah, that's a nice short.
Yeah. So
Oh
look at
yeah.
here. So again, last week, right? Oh, hold on, let me go back to last week. Around this point here, right? Right, around the 1920s, right? Somewhere around there, right? Last week, look what it did. It bounced off what? Around 76, 71, right?
Mm,
And got all the way back over 120. So basically from 71 to 120, how much is that?
that's
What's
about
120
Like
minus
80,
70?
50.
That's like 50 bucks. So it ran 50 points.
mm-hmm.
50 points on coronavirus headlines and economy shut down. It ran 50 points
That's kind of tough right there.
off the lows. Tap the 20-day moving average, which is this light blue line. You see what I'm saying? Now y'all see the method of my madness.
Yep.
I saw it. It hit that 20 moving average and what? Pinged it. It pinged it. Like ping. That was my signal. That was my signal. Get short. Get short.
Yeah.
Right? Get short, African boy. Don't play no game. Let's get short. I got
Take him
short.
down.
Y'all know my earnings sled. I love trading earning plays. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I got short right on that joke. I think about 170 shares. To be exact. 170 shares. Sold 70, obviously. Added a couple more back to it. No, I sold, excuse me, I sold 90 and I added some more back to it. Somewhere around there. Which obviously the average now is 112. And then again about 100 shares left. So guess what? Now, if I want to be really what they call really mash the gas on it, so I'm looking at breakdown levels, right? Remember, everything we just been sitting there going over as far as training is we're looking at what past performance as a potential for future profitability, right? So
Right.
we already broke this counter there, right? At 88.38, right? Now we at what 87, what 35, right? So that counter what done, right? He out of there, right? All them bulls that was in here that didn't sell, guess what? They out of there, right? You go to the next counter, this guy right here, right? What's the base of that counter? 81.33, right?
Mhm.
Give or take, and it's showing it what right here too, almost parallel to this candle here, right? That's base case because we know if it break that, it's definitely gonna go back and test that what 70, 72, 73, wherever it was down here at this wick down here. Also this point right here, right? So now, in my interest value in terms of what we know as traders, right? We say trade the trend, right? The trend is your friend, right? So should
Yeah.
I be rushing to get out this trade right now, not knowing what tomorrow gonna hold?
No.
What you think, over Chris? Would you rush out? Now again, this is just me. Now this is my my trade off is in terms of my mentality behind it. But just understand when we say the trend is your friend, when you're trading into momentum, meaning with the momentum, excuse me, you
Right.
respect the value because guess what? It broke the key level of what the moving averages, right? It's below the 9 moving average, which is this purple line. It's extended, either way from this 20-day moving average, which is light blue line, right? And which we also know anytime a stock extends really further away from the a moving average, that also could be what critical that it may have to snap back. But then you say, well, let me weight that against the ideal of what? The overall trend and the energy of the market. See what I'm saying? Because we've seen things when they gap away from the market, moving out, it can gap further away from it and be very rational, right? And so just knowing that, again, I could take that little piece and run, right? Or I could say,
Right.
well, okay, if it don't close back, I mean, if it gets already close to closing, we got about 20 minutes for the bell. If it don't close back above near that $88 handle, which is this counter here, right? Then all these guys down here are in trouble. I mean, we may visit them tomorrow. We may not. Again, it can easily, reverse tomorrow too. But sentiment wise, meaning my sentiment, I'm pretty much in the driver's seat. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty much in that driver's seat because I've already taken obviously some profit off, which obviously well over half at this point. And got 100 shares left. So personally at this point, and it's like on a $10,000 or $8,000 position at this point, since it's in profit, I'll take 20, maybe 25 shares off and leave 75 in there to keep running. And I can feed off this stock for the rest of the week until it actually does a hard reverse. A hard reverse. because I'm insulated in the trade. So I'm saying there's no need for me just to cut and run and leave a gift that's constantly still what? Giving. Does that make sense a little bit?
Yes.
It's a gift that keeps giving. So if you think about it from a payday perspective, right? So if I take 25 shares off, 25% off what? Of 2,500, how much is that? Right now we're doing like the stores do, like 25% off, right? The rollback, Walmart. We're gonna roll back this price on Restoration Hardware. We're gonna roll back 25%, right? But that's how I position it in my mind. Is that making sense a little bit? So there's no need for me to cut and run and leave a position that's still giving, right? When I know I have the upper hand, right? I hold the what? I hold the key, right? I got what the movie Juice, Tupac. Right. I got the juice right now. You got the juice. Right? I got that little 38 pistol. Hey, I think I'm bad at it. Leroy Brown. Right? I got the juice right now. So that's also important to understand that too. When you are in a trade and everything telling you to stay in the trade, you stay in the trade. The indicators are there for that reason. The oscillators are there for a reason. It's not even that oversold down here on the R side. You can barely see it, but it's down. It's not even oversold to that regard. And you still, again, trending a little lower here on the back end day, volume between 87 and 86. Right. So again, that's the part of the game too, where you have to be confident in what you're doing based upon everything that you factored into this. Again, I saw it pump from here to up there, like near 50-something point. It tapped the 28 moving average and got rejected. It's the same way the S&P 500 got what? Rejected up into that 260, even though it went up above this a little bit. And guess what? We rode riding it back down. Right? Riding it back down. Ain't nobody finna run up in Restoration Hardware. Matter of fact, Restoration Hardware, man, look here. I'll leave it alone. I'll leave Warren Buffett alone. I ain't gonna mess with him too bad. Right? he got it like that. He can afford it, obviously. He can afford it. But for us, again, this is the opportunity we search for, right? We're searching for yield. We search for opportunity. We look for plays that have a fundamental callus. And on top of this coronavirus, so that was a double whammy. They had earnings, and we're dealing with this coronavirus. And we know obviously certain stocks right now are under fire even more because if they don't have anything that can really relate to helping prevent this coronavirus or stopping the spread or whatever the case, they're just sitting ducks, right? Unless the government come and commandeer that business, they're sitting ducks, right? Unless you got a type of business where you can have your employees work from home, but you just Google what Restoration Hardware does, right? What do they do? Just the name alone kind of gives you some understanding a little bit what you think they do, right? Restoration Hardware.
They restore hardware.
Right? Just put it in layman terms. So who out there restoring stuff? Who out there restoring hardware right now? If you ain't building no hospital beds, you ain't building no ventilators.
Yeah, if you're not fixing ventilators right now, then it doesn't matter what you're restoring.
Right? How you work from home? You know what I'm saying? How you work from home for Restoration Hardware? What can you restore from your home that you can't put your hands on it? Bruh.
No sense to having you. Short it.
You see what I'm saying? So you see I'm making sense of it just by using common sense. I ain't even go pull up exactly what something. That's why you have to always think it all the way through. Use your logical meter first, and then go use your technical intelligence meter by digging up and researching it. Right? Methodology. Right? Right? That's what we practice. Right? Due diligence. Right? Go do that quick little due diligence on it. All I had to see that they had earnings. Then I went and did all. Okay. Yep. Man, they're gonna have to turn. Man. Look at a pig gonna have to lay a golden egg for this thing to gap up on earnings. Didn't see that happening. So again, just using it as a case study. Again, it's always case study. It's to give you guys, some of you guys already know this stuff. I get it, but it's to provide some more vantage points, some more viewpoints, some more aspects of the market. Hey, what's going on, Family Trader Wiz? Are you there, Brother Trader Wiz? Let me see, brother dude just came on the back panel here. All right. So yeah, or female, I'm not sure. I think that's a homie. Yeah, homie Trader Wiz. All right. So, but yeah, again, in understanding this, you're there to look. Again, take a thorough look at it all, and again, base your decisions on, what's the best case scenario that's going to provide you some opportunity in that stock. If not, again, don't trade it. Right? Don't trade it. I didn't even want to trade the options in it because the options were stupid. Right? I could have, but it's not worth it. I'll come in this, come in equity stock, short it and do better. right? Because y'all know the option market is just in shambles right now. Premiums are still high. You know, the extensions on some of them you have to be in a lot earlier. You're gonna pay a little bit more for them. And so again, we're still getting the volatility and the extension in them. Again, granted, but you have to make sure that you're on top of that. You know, that fundamental analysis, technical analysis to the T almost, right? Because the market is just so uncertain, right? It's just so uncertain right now. So again, that's why we want to make sure we're on top of it. So real quick here, yeah, we conveniently hit 5% down at 330. Exactly, we had a limit down at 330. How about that? Exactly, CG3, you own it, bro. You own it. We just had a limit down at 330, right? After all day, they tried to kind of save, you know, they did everything they can to save it, meaning the SP 500 from being really shaken down. But look at it now. Look at the SP 500. Look at. When you see that right there, you're like, man, look at them jokers there. Who is these people? Who are these? Who are these? I'm gonna be nice, right? Because y'all know I'm on a live stream. I'm about to say, who are these maggots? When you see that, you say from here to here, from here to here, right? From way back here to here. Who are these people?
We know who that is.
Right. That's the. No, y'all wrong. Y'all wrong.
That's them. Gotta say it like Soldier Boy. That's
right.
them crackers.
they going ham. Like, how you trying to? No, seriously. No, seriously. How are you trying to again, people can be playing for the bounce. I get it. I'm not saying you don't trade for that perspective of bounce. You down 5%, you have a limit down, and you unleash that, and now you obviously resurge it back up because you got shorts covering. So instantly after that halt value, what do you people do? They're typically gonna take some profit, right? Get up out of it, right? Because now you just start the momentum of the trade. So evidently you want to always again make sure that you're confident and that okay, you got what you got what you needed from it, and the rest is history. Right? You leave the rest out there. So again, these people are just much as optimistic as the people who are up here, right? Shorting, from up those levels there down to where we are today, or excuse me, where we are right now at this point of the day, I should say, excuse me. Right? So again, you can find value in it because again, just if you scalping, right, you in at 244, you already up 246, right? Up near almost near 2 points. And a 5-minute candle, because this is the 5-minute chart, obviously. So look at this long candle. Look at this. Who's this? Who is that? Who is that? You saw that volume bar spiked up right there?
Institutions.
There you go. That's what I was hinting at. That's covering and institutions coming in right behind it because they know instantly after that value of a limit down halt, what's going to happen? People going to say, okay, I'm good for that. I'm out. Perfect time for them to come in and do what? That's it, CD3. Minution, pump protection team, all those guys. Right? Right. The pump protection team. Right? That's exactly what that is. Get the market off the what? Remember we talked about that last week? Their whole mandate is to do what? Keep the market off the what? Off the lows. See what I'm saying? So it's not rocket science. And they had the perfect moment to do that off the limit down. Ain't that something? So this stuff ain't hard to kind of, again, you can strategize your way through this stuff, guys. It's not hard. It really isn't. That doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be right 100% of the time. That's not what trading and investing is all about. No one is 100% right all the time. You're just trying to make sure that your ratio, your win rate ratio, is obviously on from a basic understanding above 50, right? And then eventually you can do what? You can get up to what? 55, 57, 60%, 60, 62%. You know what I'm saying? That means you're winning more from the market than you are what? You're giving back. And that's speaking from a trader perspective now. This is strictly trader talk. Right? Hey, what's going on, family? Brother in the building, Shaq. What's going on, family? Right? Brother up there in Delaware. Right? I was living in that area. We was up there military area, and then before we moved back down this way. But hey, good to have you in the house, Big Shaq. All right, definitely happy to have you tuned in too, man. A lot of people coming through. Again, I'm loving it because again, I just y'all know how I am. I'm a giving brother, and I like to try to always share something that's gonna be beneficial, right? Or even if I'm coming to you guys in the same breath, I'm always open-minded. Just having the family come through again, just to kind of build with us today. I'm always humbled by it, and I'm honored by it. So peace, power, and profit, brother Shaq, and also brother Trader Wiz. I know he's on the back chat here with us, hanging out. Peace, power, and profit to you as well. Again, again, I always do my little roll calls anyway. We got Sister Kaba in the house from NBK. She's in the building today. Peace, power, and profit to her as well. Right, brother CG3, everybody, brother Teague is always coming through, getting it in, lighting the chat up. All right, always appreciate the brother. Big Boom in the house today. He came through. Obviously, definitely the panel itself, over Chris Raul in the house as always, putting it down, adding to the bill. Right, over David in the house again. He came through today. I'm sure many others too. Over Sunline came through today. Peace, power, and profit. Right, just the whole family. Sister Kiana stopped through today. Right, that's a busy sister. Right, she's been getting it in. She's a forex trader, but again, she's traversing across the equity lines and learning this even more. And so that's what it's all about. Again, going to places, hanging out in places, I should say, to find value in it. My brother Guaranteed Fresh in the house, right? Brother Jay in the house, right? Peace, power, and profit to you, over, right? Again, everybody, Ebnar, brother Mathis, everybody that came through that necessarily didn't even type. Again, I'm humbled and honored that you guys spent some time hanging out with your brother here. Again, going in about 8 minutes here before the bell rings here. Again, this is your S&P 500 here, fighting for dear life. Is trying to hold on, doing the best it can. Trying to again, get out of this thing with a little bit of what we call a little bit of decency. Same with Boeing. I mean, look Tesla. Tesla was down, like hit 475. Right now it's back up to $5 like in no time. Right. And so all these stocks that were just downtrending, like the world was ending. All of a sudden they retracing back like it ain't nothing, right? They just snapping back like it's just like gangbusters, like where all this volume coming from all of a sudden. Right? Those people who are trying to position themselves for any potentiality of a pop or a retrace tomorrow after we had a limit down day today, right? Again, that's the game, right? People, when you got money on the line and you thinking that you can outwit the market or outsmart the market, then that's what you train for. That's what you train to do. Now, whether or not it's a good decision or not, hey, we'll find out tomorrow. So these guys that bought this 475 support, because what, it tapped that 475 support almost to the T and bounced, coming off that limit down. Again, it happened, right at that time frame after it drifted here a little bit, and now it's bouncing here on the back end of the day. Right, these jokers here just greedy. They hungry, boy. They mad. They had a day like this here. And that might be some people, obviously, because you can trade both sides. You got people that ride it down, then ride it back up. Again, that's the smart people, obviously. But if you just came into the market now and you just watched all this happen all day, all this conjure all the way down, and you couldn't wait to trade Tesla, that's what these people. That's what they are now. I couldn't wait to trade Tesla. I'm finally in. Let's go. Let's go, Tesla. You think about 490 tomorrow, 495, even back maybe down up to 500. Again, Tesla moves in really big chunks. It obviously can get back up there. Right. But again, you have to ask yourself too, what's the catalyst for tomorrow? Right. What are we dealing with tomorrow? That wasn't already kind of known today, which caused the market to pull back the way that it did today. And if so, if you have any retrace tomorrow, how far up, can you retrace? So again, you have to really just take your time, think it all the way through, make it make sense in a way where if you don't find, no value in it, then don't touch it. Right? Don't touch it. It's not worth, taking that trade just to chance it, just to see, right? They call that, like a wishing well, throwing a little quarter in the wishing well, hoping you get back and find like, a bag underneath your little pillow. No, that's not how trading works, right? That's not how investing works. Right? And anybody can get lucky, and strike gold in the market, but to learn how to do it consistently, that's what we're here for, right? That's what we should for. Hey, what's going on, family? DS Kizzy, what's going on, family? Hey, I'm always humbled and honored, man, that you are, family. Right. So peace, power, and profit to you. Thank you for that. Right. Thank you for that. Right. And then again, all the the family that comes on the panel too, to sharing the wealth of this information, this knowledge. Again, we're just trying to change the game up a little bit in terms of what people may see as different ways to be able to get find income. Right. We utilize the markets because again, right now, like we said before, like a million times. Right now, I keep saying like a million times. There's people out there right now. Again, we all kind of at the mercy of the government because you can't work, right? If your company shut down, you can't work. You can't provide. You can't bring in money, right? So again, of course, you're gonna need other ways to find ways to get money. So you got people who, again, telemarketers and the service industry. If we are a heavy service industries economy, which we are, right? Those people who really have that type of job that can still keep pumping in a moment like this, then those are the people who actually be able to kind of still get money, right? So outside of those guys, what's else out there? What else is out there? You can't really go be knocking on people's doors about cutting their grass, right? It ain't worth risking to get in the Rona, right? I mean, whatever the case, y'all get my point. But for me, again, this opportunity in terms of being invested into the markets is to me, of course, it's going to be a no-brainer, right? Because I'm all in, right? I mean, I'm all in mentally. I'm all in with the idea of what this opportunity could bring forth based upon the results, the experience, my peers, this, that, and the third. To me, I'm not going to argue the moment to want to get better at this, right? I'm going to constantly keep studying. I'm going to constantly keep learning. And then I'm going to say, hey, how can I share this with somebody else? Right? Not that it makes me someone better than I am or I'm some kind of guru, because I don't claim none of that. I say, well, how can I break this down in layman terms and share it with a person on a lay perspective so they can also see that they're not boxed into just what? Going to work for somebody else. You see what I'm saying? That's the difference, right? And so breaking it down, giving you the different nuances, understanding that this is a psychological game more or less than it is more of a technical, right? Because your mind has to be right. That's why I always speak from that place where I'm always constantly, preaching psychology or, hammering on the psychology of it, because I do know that's the secret sauce. You have to have that kind of mindset. Again, being indifferent, like we spoke about earlier, being indifferent to money, right? If you know you got $200 put away for a party in BS, right? Well, guess what? You can't party in BS right now. All right, unless you're gonna do it in your basement and invite some people over there. You're gonna check their temperature at the door to make sure you got that Rona. All right, no coughing. First time you call, we're gonna stop the DJ. Everybody out of here. Right, unless you're gonna pull that kind of party off, you can take that same party money, right, and put it into the markets. Right, so that's the difference, right? And over Chris, he on a lot of you guys. That's different between us and a lot of people, right? We look for extra money we can pump in the market, right? Because we know at some point our growth and evolution in this, even when we take losses, are just like paying a tuition in the college. You're gonna learn from that.
Right.
See what I'm saying? Once you get to that place of consistency, like I said before, when you're above 50%, win rate, which ain't hard to do if you just take your time, and you start hitting 60%, 70%, 80%, after that it's game on. Then it's like, okay, let Mr. Charlie be tripping today. Let Mr. Charlie be tripping today. If I hear anything out of Mr. Charlie today, right, imagine people that can have that kind of mentality on the job. A lot of people don't have that mentality because they know they need that job. I get it. But you need to understand you got more power than you give yourself credit for, because if you figure out that the way to what they call security is not governed by one path and one path alone, then you're in a position of power. So you speak from a place of leverage, you speak from a place of confidence, you move in that same reality because your level of due diligence, obviously, it affords you the ability to act that way or carry yourself a certain way. You see what I'm saying? Because you're not waiting around for Mr. Charlie to say, well, okay, I'm gonna give you time and a half today, or I might give you time and a half today, right? Like how many people are working right now at Walmart? All these little businesses that are still open, what they call essential businesses, are getting hazard pay right now. Just imagine how many people getting hazard pay to be working right now in this environment of a coronavirus outbreak. That people got children at home that they can bring this virus back to, just to kind of throw a little dirty little rollback item on the shelf and sell it to somebody at Walmart. While the Waltons that own Walmart is sitting somewhere in a cave, right, surrounded by cash and all the lights on, whatever they need, and they sitting comfortable, not worried about catching the virus. But their employees right now on the front line, literally like soldiers. I mean, I'm not making this stuff up. Y'all done thought about this stuff. I can't be the only one that thought about that. And you ask yourself, are they getting hazard pay? Would this not be a hazard moment to get hazard pay? I'm just asking. If somebody called you up right now, oh, but Chris, hey, I need to come in tomorrow, over here, Wally World, and run this shift. I'm still gonna give you regular pay. I know you want to work, right? You need the money, don't you? They talk to you like that. You need money, don't you? Like what? Wait, what? Man, you want me to come in there just for man? And people sitting there like, man, God, they tend to making that decision. I mean, I'm making light of it, but y'all get my point. You know, so it's a mindset, it's a mentality, right? When you know that you stuck, then of course you got to play ball sometime until you get from a place where you're not, you know, subjected to somebody else's what, you know, rulership, so to speak, over you, right? You come into this market, guess what? Who rule you? You,
Nobody.
you
Right.
and only you.
Mm-hmm.
You the owner, operator, whatever, this, that, and the third. And how well you perform will be based upon the value of what? Yeah. Oh, real quick. Hey, good thing you brought it up, brother Matthew. It's time for the stash party. Stash party
Oh yeah.
time. Let me go get them.
Yep.
Get that money real quick. Let me go. You know what I'm saying? Let me go run right
Take
on over here and get that stash money. Give me that
take
stash money.
take so marijuana stop. Take so.
You logged on, brother Chris?
Oh yeah.
Let me run over there and get that money real quick. Joke like, man, what y'all talking about this stash party stuff? I'm finna show you right now. Y'all see that right there? We finna get some shares of Hexo today. I'm in the game, right?
Yes,
Claim.
sir.
I didn't claim my portion of it. Free money. Joke like,
That's
man, it's
right.
only about 70 cents, 30 cents, 10 cents, 12 cents. And get what? It's free.
Free.
It's free.
That's right.
And it adds up every day. So at the end of the week, I can end up with maybe about $2, $3, $1 and some change. That's on the house. All I had to do is click a button, and that's all I did. I didn't lose my fingernail. I didn't scrape my elbow, right? I just clicked the button and got some free money.
Ain't beat that, man.
See this again. People don't understand when you're an entrepreneur and you're a hustler. Nothing. Again, look at all of it. All of it count. All of it. Right. Let
Yep.
me cut that off. I ain't got my little bag from man. I don't know if that little music playing. I know it be playing. It be jigging in the background. Stash be jigging over there. I don't know, can y'all hear
Yeah.
that? You can hear it, Chris? Over Chris?
Oh yeah, it was playing on my phone too in the
Oh, you
background.
playing on yours? I don't know if they
Yeah.
can hear it because I got my earphones on, but I was just saying because that thing be jigging, boy. They be jigging over there.
Yeah.
Free money. Let me see if I can switch to the.
That's how everything in the market. There you go.
Know what that sound mean to me right now? Get this
Yep.
money. Get
Yeah.
this money.
Yeah.
Get this money. Over Chris, he the rapper on the panel. Hey, he give them bars, right?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna
Gotta
give the
get
hook.
this money.
Right? Look at that money
Money.
still building up right now.
Yeah.
So again, it's just hey, we just make we make the best of our time. We make the
Facts.
the best of our our ability to find again find money and do things that that again just puts us in driver's seat. I mean that's just
Mm-hmm.
free money on the house right there. Let me just click on it. That's all I had to do, and then they're gonna send me that little bag over to my little stash account.
Right. Shoot.
So
Everything we do is a press of a button.
that's it. Literally. In the discussion, roll mic, drop mic, roll credits, in the discussion. As what we call back in the old days a fingerprint of pressure. Let that marinate for a moment. A fingerprint of pressure. It's
Facts.
the same way when you squeeze the trigger, squeeze the trigger as opposed to pulling the trigger, right? What are you supposed to do? You supposed to do what? Squeeze it, not pull it, right? You pull it, you're gonna what? Your aim finna go off. You finna hit something else and not what's supposed to be hit. You
Right.
squeeze that thing. So a fingerprint of pressure. Buy button, sell button. In the discussion. Just to kind
Facts.
of put it in context to that. But again, we're having a little fun making light of it to a degree, but that's basically what it is. So you put yourself in those positions, guess what you do? You let everything handle itself for itself. It's doing all the work for you. You just showing up basically. You know, truly, that's basically how it is in a sense. You just showing up. So again, I'm always gonna again try to make those those pictures become a reality. Because again, if I could demonstrate, then you can obviously what? You know what I'm saying? Do what you need to do also to see if you can, emulate it too, or copy it, however you want to rhyme with it, whatever. Y'all get my point, right? Hey, no problem, Raul. Anytime, family. Always good to have you here, man. Peace, power, and profit to you, man. Enjoy class. If you know some of the schools they still got online classes right now. He's still in college, obviously. Pre-med student, so they got that learning stuff online now. So, but yeah, guys. So y'all know what it is, man. Y'all know exactly what it is. Utilize your time wisely, guys. Get them stash accounts if you ain't got it on caution nothing. The dollar with a dollar a month, whatever. But again, you're using it as a tool. It's a tool, right? To get invested, right? To buy fractional shares of Tesla, whatever. I think Chris put his link in the back chat. Yeah, get it again. I mean, he dropping that data. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Hold up. Okay, yep, right there. Just scroll on up there. Click on if you don't have the account. Get the account. They give away a lot of free money all the time too. You just sign up on somebody's account, and get free money. Literally, free stocks, free money. That's what it's all about. Right? That's what it's all about. So again, we're gonna keep hammering this stuff. We're gonna keep working, to help you guys, find value, through the equity markets. Just to understand that there's other ways you can get to the bag besides waiting on somebody else to give you a bag. You know what I'm saying? And so real quick, before I get ready to log off here, I'm gonna show you exactly what I was talking about. When you got these little stocks that pop up, right? And again, the people that bought that bounce on Tesla, we were just watching that Tesla stock. Y'all remember we were just watching Tesla, right? Let me show y'all what I mean by this here, right? Look at Tesla. What happened? What happened? These guys here was like, we back. And then what happened here? This is 4 o'clock when the bell rang, right? This is where Tesla down here now. So again, I'm just saying, be careful. Be careful. When you got this kind, look where it came from. It came from, let me back up even more. It came from way up here, $524 a share, right? And it closed down on the day at 477, right? You talking about, again, around roughly about what, 50 some bucks, somewhere close to that? 50 some dollars a share, all the way down. So again, even if you bullish on Tesla, it's not worth getting your head messed up and bust trying to trade against it. Right? Let it get cheaper. Buy you more shares. If you feel like you at a good point where you keep averaging in, right? Let it get cheaper. Meaning, don't be too giddy. Right? That's the lesson of the day. Don't be too giddy. And it ties into the whole theme of the market as a whole, but also even what Trump, right? Going back to Trump, right? Trump reveals uncomfortable truth, right? The title of my live stream today is called what? Trump reveals an uncomfortable truth. 100,000 to 200,000 potential coronavirus deaths that's being modeled out. Obviously, y'all saw the press release. Now, a week ago, he was saying what? A week and a half ago, he was like, what? It shouldn't be that many. It's not going to be that many. We should be able to open the economy back up. People are waiting to get back to work. They're calling me every day. They want to get back to work. They want to get back to work. We should have the economy up and running by what? April what? By Easter, right? We're going to have churches packed, right? We're going to have people packed in churches. Income is cronies, right? Income is peons. Again, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick of Texas. Your grandparents should be willing to sacrifice for the greater good of the economy. Get back to work, basically paraphrasing. Jerry Falwell, Liberty University, we know about that, what happened to that idiot. And many other Republicans were like, yeah, the economy, right? Sacrifice. The economy is more important than this coronavirus. Wait, what? So what are they doing right now? All of them eating crow. All of them eating crow right now. A sober reality that science overrules what? Ignorance. A sober reality that science overrides ignorance. You can't play a doctor on TV and deal with this virus. This virus is serious. How many people have been downplaying this virus? Y'all got people that's in y'all little social media feeds that were downplaying this virus? Man, it's a hoax. It ain't that serious. It's just a common flu. Y'all heard all them talking points. Let's keep it 100.
Right.
Some of us might even that's on the in the back chat may feel that way still. Ain't no disrespect, but I'm just saying you see that this thing disrupted the entire globe. Yeah, y'all know as well as I know. Anytime you mess with old people money, that means this must be serious. Cause old money getting messed up right now, and you know they don't like it because they want to call the shot, keep all this stuff running ragged and cheating people every day. So if they can't even steal off you, basically, if they can't rob you, If they can't rob you, then maybe it's time for you to start robbing them, right? Hence, what Robin Hood, right? That's what we do. We go into the markets and rob these overly rich people. That's the mentality, right? Whether it be the skill set, be the actual money in the market, right? Whether it be something that you can bring back and share with other people so they can benefit from it, right? All payouts ain't always in the form of a physical dollar or currency. It can be in knowledge form too. It can be in knowledge form too. But through a workshop mentality where we can demonstrate as opposed to just what? Talking about it, conversating about it. Because if I can't demonstrate it, then ain't no use of me talking about it. Right? And so that goes for anybody, right? If they're trying to, again, put you up on some kind of value of news or information to gain, they got to be able to do what? Demonstrate. So that's what we're here for. We're here to learn together, right? It's a workshop environment for that reason, right? That's why I make it very, welcoming, right? Again, I don't, this is not a dictatorship oligarchy website or platform here. This is like everybody come on the panel if you can, right? That's why I always throw the link out there. Come on the panel. Let's talk about it, right? Let's discuss it, right? What you're looking at? What trades you're taking? What charts you're looking at? What you think about as far as overall economy? What's the deal with this coronavirus, right? How do you feel about the coronavirus, right? All that kind of stuff, right? Let's talk about it. Let's discuss it. Let's have a place there where we can come to and we don't feel pressure, right? Where we're not getting, disrespect or anything like that, whatever. But you can come here and be yourself. You can kick your feet up and just chill, right?
Yeah.
So that's what it's all about, So, but that's it. So yeah, any closing words over, Chris? Again, get ready to close out for a second here. Then we probably try to come back on maybe later on again tonight because I didn't really get a chance to really bring up those stats on the coronavirus because I like to try to always keep that stuff in context because we know these numbers are ballooning and there's a lot of things that have happened since I last came on live and it's just it's a lot, right? It's a lot to digest, So hopefully I come on again later tonight and we go deeper into the coronavirus and look at some stocks that might be worth playing for tomorrow, looking at work tomorrow, and just kind of game plan like we always do.
Yeah.
So yeah, in closing, over Chris, last words.
Stay green.
Facts. Straight to the point. That's it. He's 100% right. Stay green. Right? Because right now, not only is it needed, but it's also a great opportunity to learn because you don't have any pressures on you for having to get to work, right? You ain't have to worry about trying to trade from your little underneath your desk at the job and right on wherever you at working. If you shut in now, what better time now than pick up a skill set and learn it, right? So guess what? This is what I'm gonna do later on tonight. If I'm able to come back on live, if not tonight, definitely tomorrow. But I'm gonna try to come on again tonight. I'm gonna make it about the. It's gonna be like a data harvest, right? We call it data harvest. So basically, I'm gonna drop a lot of different PDFs, some books, anything I know that some links where y'all can go get a whole lot of good information to get started with, right? For some of you guys may be 100% new to it altogether, where you can have a point of reference to start learning this from, right? Reading the data, looking at some videos if that's the case, give you some of the people I look at, for just kind of get some understanding of the markets, and then kind of keep building on it from there, right? So that way you always have something, hey, what's going on, Sister Q? I didn't know that. I saw that Professional J. I was like, who is Professional J? Right? I saw that earlier. What's going on with sis? Right? I got my sister in the house. Right? I always say, he's my professional peers, right? Let me say it the right way, my professional peers, right? Sister Q Tech in the house, right? Come from some real awesome, platforms meeting together. My brother Divine Full in the house. Everybody, again, y'all know how we come together. We come together to build, right? We come together to earn, or as I say, we come together to learn, to earn, right? So it's important to always have that kind of, camaraderie where you feel welcome. As I always say, if I can't make you feel welcome, something wrong with me, right? Right? Because I'm gonna go out my way to make sure you feel that way anytime I get a chance to go live. But beyond that, again, I understand the importance of having smart people around you, right? Because they make you smarter, right? And so each and every one of you guys is smart, right? And I know we got something to contribute to this and learning this because a lot of people out there need, again, something like this to kind of help them get through this moment. Number one, because it consumes your time. So you're not just sitting there, just kind of looking at the wall, especially if you're single, right? Because I've been hearing these things about people's suicide rates getting ready to go up. Even Trump said it. It's past weekend. People gonna start committing suicide. Like, why would you gaslit even that talking point? Why would you say that nationally, right? Right? Don't give people the ability to start thinking that way just because they can't go to work. Like work ain't the best thing since sliced bread. It's not. I'm sorry. Unless you're working for yourself, yeah, I get it. But I mean, somebody else, no, I ain't just gonna go off myself just because I can't go work for Mr. Charlotte tomorrow. I'm sorry, right? I said, cut me that $1,200 check. Let me go flip it, if anything. Right? But I ain't finna off myself. But again, that's just me, maybe. Right? But yeah, so you already know, sister. You already know you're welcome here anytime, right? You done put in some work with your brother, so you already know. Instantly, I got to make you mod and that because we come out the grind together, right? Learned a lot from that sister. I'm pretty sure she's seen me do my little things here and there too. We all learn from each other, right? So again, tune in anytime. You welcome to come through, get on the panel, and share your wisdom, or anybody. Again, y'all know I don't. This is not about who is this far along or who's not. I just like to hear your perspective because again, together we can think tank, right? That's what it should be about. Share those ideas, meet you where you are because that's what I always do. I always meet people where they are. I never try to supersede their ideal of what they think they should know. I say, okay, well, what are your strengths? Right? I'm only going to focus on your strengths. I don't really, be here trying to just say, well, no, you're not good right here. You're not good right. I don't focus on people's weaknesses. I focus on their strengths, right? Because the more we focus on your strengths, they'll eventually override your weaknesses, right? Because you'll get confident in what you do good. That would translate into doing better in things that obviously makes you override your weaknesses. It's a simple reality. This is not rocket science. Focus on your strengths, right? Come back and pick up the other stuff later, or it'll get consumed later. Once you learn some other stuff that obviously may have you boxed up in that little moment. So it's important, right? It's important. So again, so I just make sure I want to leave on a good note. As always, again, watching Tesla here bleed out for the rest of the day. I'm loving that because I'm still short Tesla. All right, yeah, I wouldn't even say let it pop up and run, show out in front of company, as they say back in the South, right? When they're showing out in front of company, it popped up here and started acting like it wanted to kind of jump bad, and it jumped on up to 44, right back down to 476, right? Over sunlight, you say, man, over sunlight, your box, you know what it's like in that boxing ring, Jugger jump out there acting bad, right? He ain't got his feet game right. It could be a world of hurt for him, right? But yeah, guys. So again, with that being said, again, I'm gonna close out here momentarily, and I'm gonna try to my best to come back on a little bit later this evening so we can do like a little bit more education stuff. Drop some links, drop some PDF books, some free material, obviously, and so we can take that stuff back and deal with it. Yeah, 100% right, brother T Evans. You already know, man. I always appreciate you because you keep everybody on the toes in chat. You stay dropping some information too when you can. So I appreciate it, man. So yeah, I got some stuff, man, to share with you guys, and when I come back on. So good opportunity to archive those files and just have a place to point where you can launch from, where you can start building from. All right, guys. So with that being said, I'm gonna close out just momentarily and not forever. As I always say, Ubuntu, right? I am because we are intellectual peers at this, right? And we're gonna learn this together. I'm not the only one doing this. Again, there's hundreds and hundreds of YouTube channels where people just giving tutorials, giving free information, right? Utilize it. You got all this time on your hands. Ain't no excuse why you shouldn't be having, at least an hour of your time out of the day devoted to getting some lessons or some information or some insight or an audio book in your ear dealing with something that's dealing with the markets. Right? Utilize it, right? Because I guarantee, like I always say, right, there's somebody out there today that made a big bag, right? Plenty of people out there made a big bag just, again, trading, volatility, trading, opportunity, just, whatever the case. And I'm saying that far as, the market, right? Financial markets, right? You got to, this little, matter of fact, this last little stock, all right, last little one, I'm out of here. I know I keep saying that, but I really got to get out of here, all right? Show you this one right here real quick. Where this joke at? Let me see if I can put it up. All right, 1 second. This is a little dirty little stock too. A dirty little stock today ran up over near 300%. And it had really no volume. Look at this trash, man. The joker ran 291% today on 189,000 shares traded. This crazy. I mean, no volume at all, and ran up over near 300%. And look where it came from. Again, so it's at $2.42 now. It picked up $1.80, right? So it came from basically $2, well, it coming from back. I guess let me back it up here. When it started counting like $1.90, right? It ran way up here, to where it's at now, which is around this 242. That's crazy, right? It's 100% crazy. And so you got stocks just running. Let me refresh that. That's only 289%, so I don't know where it's reading that from. Let me make sure I got it right. But there's plenty of them out there like that. So let me go to market scan. We look at a couple of these ones that's running today. All right. Insight on there. So yeah, I was right. So Rand ran 283% today. Right? On no volume. DFFN, that one was running earlier today. Right? I think at the peak it was up near what, over 100%. Out the gate, again, it opened up, banging. Pre-market was really banging. It came from like 31 cents a share yesterday into today, right? It was at 31 cents today when it opened up around, 8 o'clock, somewhere around that this morning, right? And ran all the way up to 73 cents. Again, well over 100%, right? It actually hit that point around, like 9:53. So basically, what, 20 minutes until the bell, when the bell opened up from here to here. If you got in even around this point here, 31 cents, 30-some cents into that, you ate that up pre-market, man, you closed out a nice big bag before the market even really got going. You were done for the day. And it only cost you like 30-some cents a share. Some of you guys, again, got couch money. Y'all know my theory on that. You got that couch money. You can find 30-some cents in your couch. You could have bought one share and doubled it. Actually, well over doubled it. Right? In just one little trade in a couple hours. So yeah, it's stuff like that keep me excited. It's the opportunity. And these little penny stocks here, obviously, some of them a little over $5, which is technically over a penny stock. Which a penny stock constitutes anything that's trading at 1,000th of a penny, 1,000th of a penny, meaning yes, 0.0001, right, all the way up to again $5 notional value. That's what a penny stock is considered. So anytime you hear somebody speak about a penny stock, it doesn't necessarily mean it just penny increment value. It means all the way up to like $5. That's what they consider a penny stock. 1,000th of a penny to $5. Right. So again, 48% runner, 42% runners. I mean, that's money. That's big money right there. And I'm saying that because again, if they said you had $1,000, right? 30% of $1,000 is what? It's $300. $300. You make a quick $300 today in some of these stocks. Again, you had to bend there early. Right? Well, how do you get there early? That's what you learn. That's what you here to learn. How to get there early so you can catch them. Catch them before they run, or even the ones that you can catch while they are running, and they still run exorbitantly high throughout the day. But all of what I'm saying is it's opportunity. All of that is opportunity, right? So we're gonna make sure we keep banking on that when it presents itself. All right, guys. So yeah, I'm gonna shut it down for now. Again, I'll be back on a little later. Again, peace, power, profit to everybody. Again, stay healthy, stay safe, right? Do the right thing, right? Do the right thing, right? And we'll live to again fight another day. All right, guys. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace, power, profit, everyone. Peace.
Peace over.
All right, peace, family. Peace.